All sports, all the time.
There's heroes and there's legends. Heroes get remembered. Legends never die.
This is the Spoken Podcast.
Hold your ears, folks. It's showtime.
I'm your host, Lance Twidwell.
Man, that kid, he can ball, man. He can ball.
Touchdown, Kansas City!
Patrick freaking Mahomes, baby!
Let's talk some sports, because that's what we're here to do.
You are tuned in to The Spoken.
This is the Spoken Podcast. I'm your host, Lance Twidwell, here inside the Spoken Studios with my guy, Trevor Twidwell.
What's good?
Episode 331 is in full swing, full motion. We're so happy to be here with you and for you to be here with us. Whether you're live streaming, podcasting, or YouTube, we want to thank you so much for taking the time to be with us in the heart of the NFL season. We are so ready to get this thing rolling, man. We have a big show for you guys today. In case you don't see the top caption of this video that you're watching right now, if you're live streaming, we have our guy Mike Williams from All Chiefed Up that's going to be joining us momentarily. A lot of good things going over there on the All Chiefed Up side of things. They have great content every single week. Him and his brother Steve constantly posting good content, constantly putting out good things for everybody to chew on and get thoughts on, thought-provoking conversations they have all the time. And, you know, whenever we can get one of the Williams brothers over here with us Twidwell brothers, we definitely take that opportunity. And so we're very much looking forward to having Mike on in a little bit. But first and foremost, I tell you guys at the top of the show, I tell you at the bottom of the show, if you guys have not already done it, we would very much appreciate if you guys go ahead and go to the YouTube side of things, hit us up at the Spoken Podcast, hit subscribe, notify, share, all those buttons. Very much appreciate those every single time you guys do those things. But if you guys would be so kind, get in the comments today, because last week when Trevor was gone, which by the way, it's good to have him back, but when he was gone, man, I had to have you guys do what you did in the comments. You guys were absolutely great. Conversations were flowing. You guys were bringing up great questions. We need that again this week, because I know there's so much to discuss today. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff today in the world of sports, in particular with the Chiefs moving forward. They got the Lions coming into town on Sunday nights. There's trade scenarios that we have to discuss. There's a lot that we got to talk about with the Chiefs, and we want to get you guys involved in these conversations. Like we always tell you, this is a community-driven show. We don't talk at you, we talk with you. So join the conversation if that's something that you feel privy to doing. If it isn't something you want to do and you just want to chill back, kick back, listen, and watch the show, enjoy and have a great time doing that. But if you're somebody that has an opinion and you want to share that opinion, you came to the right place. And so I hope that you guys feel comfortable enough doing that. So today, as we have an awesome show for you guys, Trevor Twidwell, good to have you back, bud. How's everything going for you, man?
Going good, man. Ready to talk some ball, ready to hopefully get to some winning football here. But yeah, man, it's been a long week, but fall weather is finally here. It seems to be kicking in finally. Got some leaves on the ground, got some little cool breezes.
Yep,
breezes. But yeah, man, I'm good, bro. Ready to talk some ball here in the Twidwell dungeon basement, Spoken Studios / whatever. But yeah, bro, excited, man. Excited for a new fresh start, new week of football for the Chiefs to get things right. Ready to talk some shit, bro.
Well, let's not waste any more time. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for Lance Rants.
Gotta scream! Down! We're back to motion! The moon's gonna do big!
Trevor and I have lived enough life. We're at an age now where we got a certain level of experience, and we've always been, and I can speak for him because we grew up together, we've always been one of those people that have paid attention to those around us and learned from the mistakes that these people have made and seen the successes that other people have gone through that have, encouraged us and challenged us to do better. And I can honestly tell you that there have been a list of people in my life that have absolutely just driven me crazy. What do I mean by that? There are people in my life that I have seen since I was a young kid, even to this very day, where you look at them and it isn't in any way a judgmental thing, but it's like you feel a certain level of just anger and frustration and disappointment because you know what they're capable of. You know the potential they have within them. You know that if they just made some better choices here and there, they would be in a much better situation than they are right now. And sometimes you wish you could do it for them. Sometimes it's yourself. And I am definitely talking about myself. Regardless, This is exactly how I feel about the Chiefs right now. I feel like they're that person that you look at and you just want to shake because you know what they're capable of doing. You've seen them be successful before. You've seen them reach the paramount time and time again, but they've now found themselves in a valley, and every single time they seem to take a step up the hill, they slide their ass all the way back down. And that's where I genuinely believe the Chiefs are right now. And that's what we need to discuss some things, guys, because they are the team of missed opportunities. And missed opportunities and bad decision-making equals more losses. We got to have a heart-to-heart conversation about this right now. So please chime in, guys, if you feel like doing so, because the first thing I want to talk about, and I'm going to get into the heart of the discussion when it comes to missed opportunities. You guys know the first couple weeks, Trevor and I, we made a little compilation of Travis Kelce dropping a touchdown pass that would have won them the game against the Eagles. Drops a touchdown pass against the Chargers that could have potentially beaten the Eagles. You saw Chris Jones line up on the outside, runs on the inside. Justin Herbert runs outside for 20 yards on a 3rd and 14, game over. Bad decisions. But something that I think that plagued them this week against the Jaguars was more than just bad decisions. It's stupid-ass penalties. Penalties that are absolutely crushing this team right now, and is a large reason why they, through 5 weeks, have a losing record. Let's look at this is from our guys' Chief Concerns. They always have great stuff. This is an amazing stat in the worst way imaginable if we put that up there. The Chiefs' biggest opponent might be themselves. First 5-week penalties from last season to this season. Last season through 5 weeks, they had 27. Through 5 weeks this season, they have 42. That is 15 more. That is a 55% jump in flags. The Chiefs have gone from discipline to disaster. We need to tighten up. Hashtag Chiefs Kingdom. This is what they mean when they say the Chiefs get all the calls. The Chiefs are literally getting all the calls. Now, we can debate and speculate as to which ones are fair or unfair, but I'm not here to do that today because I've seen so many horrifically stupid penalties from this team. To this day, I will never understand, and maybe one day we can get Jason Dunn or somebody else that's played in this league on this show, and they can explain it to me. How in the hell a wide receiver and or a tackle don't know how to look at the line judge that's 15, 20 feet from them and point to them and ask them every single time they line up, am I good? I don't understand how that's not a thing that they don't do how that's not practiced in practice. I will never understand how that is something that a team ever gets penalized on. That should be one of the most fundamental prerequisite types of executions that an NFL player is able to do whenever they line up on the line of scrimmage. Yeah, the Chiefs found a way to have another penalty like that this week. It technically was on Jawan Taylor. It was actually on Tyquan Thornton for not lining up correctly. I understand Tyquan's still a young player. I understand that he's still learning this offense, yada, yada, yada. There's no excuse for that penalty. And that cost the Chiefs 5 yards. You could say that might be nothing. It could be everything. Because that could be on a 3rd down, on a 3rd and short distance, ends up being a 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9, or 3rd and 10 in a big playoff game. So maybe learn from that mistake now. We also saw Jack Cochran, don't call me Johnny Cochran, the glove don't fit, you must have quit. How many fucking penalties in a row this man had by doing the same exact thing every single time. It was baffling to me. How many times over the last couple of years have you even heard Jack Cochran's name? Why? Because he's a special teamer who normally either stays out of the way or makes a good tackle. And those guys usually don't get their names talked about. You don't hear about those guys. Well, all week long we've heard the name Jack Cochran. A guy that the Chiefs chose to keep over Cam Jones, who right now is one of the best tacklers in the NFL. Now, we can talk about that later. The point I'm trying to make is if the Chiefs chose you to stay on this roster, that must mean they believe there's value in you. Well, that's not value when you get 3 flags thrown on you in one single game, brother. That's not value at all. In fact, that's stuff that if that continues, that's the kind of shit that gets you cut because you're not good enough to make stupid decisions like that. And speaking of stupid decisions, we had Hollywood Brown in this very game decide to throw a fist at a player and get a 15-yard penalty on a drive the Chiefs were moving the ball. Absolutely stupid. And I like what I've been seeing from Hollywood Brown overall for these last few weeks, but he's not good enough to do stupid shit like that. If Patrick Mahomes had a 15-yard penalty, we're going to live with it because we know who Patrick Mahomes is. We can live with that. I can't live with a guy who's on a 1-year, $6-7 million deal who's had nothing but injury since he's been in Kansas City, making stupid decisions like that, especially as a veteran who's supposed to know better. That shit I cannot accept.
even Patrick Mahomes during that penalty, he was like, dude, chill out, bro.
We're driving.
Yeah.
Dude, they're in flow. Like, they're doing the thing. If the dude spits on you, do some stupid shit, hey, tell the ref. Go snitch. Go dry snitch on the dude. Well, it'd be wet snitch because you got spit on. The point is, don't do what you did. Don't fuck your team. Don't do stupid shit, and stupid shit won't happen. It's weird how that maths. And that is why I believe this team ultimately has been having the problems they've been having, because with bad decision-making, also stupid penalties, you're 2-3. And I want to give credit to the Jaguars for the record. They balled out in that second half. They could have easily crumbled to the pressure, but you saw Liam Cohen and his, I hate those stupid-ass little 30-second interviews they have in between halves, but he did say something and acted and had showed body language of a coach that had confidence in his team. This team that was down 14-0 at one point in this game. He had full confidence his team was going to bounce back. And that resilience, that confidence, ended up paying dividends for this team down that stretch. So credit to the Jaguars for what they were able to do. Because they went there and they won the damn game.
Yep.
But I think we all say with all certainty here on this show together that the Chiefs found a way to also simultaneously lose that game. And that's unacceptable this far into the season. And this is something that I want to address kind of in between all this. What the hell is Spags doing with Noel Williams? Can anyone explain this to me? This is from our guy Charles Goldman, if we could put that on the screen, one of the best content creators out there in the Chiefs community. By the numbers, the Chiefs have one of the best rookie corners in football in Noel Williams. He played 4, you read that correctly, 4 defensive snaps on Monday night. That and more snap count observations from the Week 5 loss to the Jaguars. Highly recommend you guys go and look at that link at some time today from Charles Goldman. Always great stuff from that dude. But maybe, and I know for certain, there's a lot of you that are a lot smarter than I am. Definitely somebody sitting across me that can maybe explain it. How in the world does this make any sense? I would understand if Noel Williams had an injury and he was banged up and they're not trying to go out there and re-aggravate it or whatever, and they're just kind of just trying to keep him in shape right now and let him, work through this injury. I would understand it if Christian Fulton was playing, because he's, that veteran that you paid real money to, and Noel's this 3rd-round pick that you're kind of just working in, and yeah, he's looked really good, but, we paid this guy a lot of money, so guys, Christian Fulton didn't play, and Chamari Connor literally looked like a burnt piece of toast with a helmet on. Chamari Connor, a guy I've tirelessly defended on this show. I'm a fan of Chamari Connor. In this game, he was targeted 11 times. The Jaguars had 10 completions, and Trevor Lawrence had a 105 quarterback rating when throwing towards Chamari Connor. How in the blue hell, without Christian Fulton and with Chamari Connor out there getting beat like Fight Club, is Noel Williams not seeing the field more? I'm just asking the questions here, because I'm going to be real with you guys. I try to be a solutions guy here. I try to be an answers guy and give you guys a straightforward opinion. I cannot give you an answer as to why that's happening. This is the same situation we had last season with the Uche signing. A guy who, by the way, this year is killing it, just for the record. And I'm not one that likes to question Spags, because the man, in my opinion, is the GOAT DC. But he is not somebody that is unfounded on criticism. Criticism still can apply to any and everybody. And this is my criticism with Spags, is that there are players out there that give this team a jump, some juice, and for some damn reason they don't see the field. And I think this is one of those bad decisions that we're talking about here. This doesn't just go with the players. This goes with the coaching staff, with everybody involved. There are some bad decisions that are being had. Guys need to get on the field that are showing you promise and potential and can make real plays. What has been the number one problem with this Chief defense, outside of obviously the pass rush right now, because the pass rush over the last few years has been actually really good. The problem with this defense on a normal occasion throughout these last few years has been the Chiefs don't get turnover. They don't take the ball away. Guess what Noel Williams does? He takes the ball away.
Ball hawk.
So maybe put that guy on the field. I don't know. I just, wild thought. Just maybe put a guy out there that has good instinctive behavior when it comes to footballs being put in the air. I don't know. Just wild thoughts. And look, we have to address this situation because it's the biggest story out of this whole game, obviously, it's been all over the national news, it's been all over the local radio, and rightfully so. When it comes to Chris Jones and what took place in that Jaguars game and this entire season as a whole, to be honest, if you're asking me, Chris Jones doesn't look old. Chris Jones looks like he's content with his career and bank account. That's my personal opinion, because I don't want to just attack the moment in that game, because I do think to a certain degree Chris probably thought the play was over when Trevor Lawrence fell twice like an old man out of his rocker. He probably thought the play was over. But that doesn't excuse the fact that Chris still just stood around the entire play. I understand he's tired. I understand he gets double teamed more than any player in this league. But when it is gotta have it moments, the Chiefs are relying on you, the highest paid defensive player on this team, to make said play. The captain of this defense to make said play. Or at worst, go to try and make the play. If Chris was to go and run after Trevor Lawrence, but Trevor just had the angle on him and he just ran in the end zone, no one's crushing Chris Jones. If Chris Jones went and dove for him and just missed the tackle by an inch, no one's dogging on Chris Jones, because you know what? That's effort. That's you trying to make the play. No one's going to knock you. If they are, they're being unfair. But people have the right to dog you when they see still frames and videos of you just standing there while Trevor Lawrence is literally like that girl, remember the popcorn meme in the theater when she's falling over and dumping the popcorn? That's what Trevor Lawrence looked like the entire play. And you're standing there being a spectator as if you're in the stands. That's unacceptable from anybody, let alone the guy that's leading the defense and wants to check everybody on the sidelines and question the behavior and jump Karlaftis' ass, jump Tranquil and he jumps your ass. Like, none of these things make sense or line up with your behavior outside of these types of plays. And look, I didn't listen or watch the post game, but I'm sure Andy Reid said the typical stuff about he has to do better or something. Which, cool. Like, we all know that's Andy, and we love him for that because he always takes the blame. He's always the guy that falls on the sword for his team. I love that about Andy. But God damn it, we're 5 games into the season, and this team continues to play sloppy, uninspired football for large portions of games. So, no offense, but don't just own it. Change it. I don't want to keep hearing the same shit every single week. I want to see you say, hey, listen, we understand the problem. We see the situation at hand. We're going to fix this shit. I don't want to keep hearing the same rhetoric if it's not being fixed, because at that point, it is just noise. It is just fluff. It is just nonsense. And it needs to be gone. It needs to go away. And look, we're all excited as hell that Rashee Rice in a week's time is going to be back on this team. He's going to absolutely help this offense immensely. We all know that. He's the best receiver on this roster. He is a deadly weapon. This dude is everything this offense has been missing. And yes, the Chiefs are going to be so much better because of his acquisition. But the offense over the last 3 weeks has been averaging 29 points per game. Rice doesn't do kickoffs, and he sure as hell doesn't rush the passer. But I wish he did, because Harrison Butker decided to take the season off. And Chris Jones sure hasn't been playing near the level that we expect him to do with the salary that he's got. And look, I can handle rookie mistakes. But I can't handle rookie mistakes from players who aren't rookies, let alone captains on this roster. I can handle losses. I can't handle stupid losses. And it doesn't get any easier this week, guys. The Chiefs have a juggernaut offense, and the Lions coming to town on a shorter week. It's time to clean up the mistakes and play championship football, or else this season is going to end much sooner than any of us anticipated. Trev, I want to get your thoughts. I know we got our guy Mike Williams coming on in a few minutes, but just for the time we do have before he gets on, just with some of these things we're talking about, with the penalties, with bad decisions, lack of execution on both sides of the ball, Harrison Butker for whatever reason, I don't know what's going on with him. I know he had his injury last year, but he doesn't look like he's not healthy. It just looks like he just constantly makes bad decisions or finds a way to cost his team in all 5 games so far. Chris Jones' situation, not getting Noel Williams on the field. Where's your mind at right now with this team, man? Because it goes without saying, this is a weird season so far. I mean, yeah. Listen, off the top right now, I just want to make it very clear that I'm a sicko, and I'm the type that, like, in my personal life, the way I approach life in general, and the way I am as a fan with the Chiefs, moments like this I embrace. I like the adversity. I like when things are going wrong right now, especially things that are going wrong that we know that we're great at. Yeah.
We know we're a good special teams team. We know we have maybe the best special teams coach in football. Dave Toub on a consistent basis is one of the best, arguably the best every year. And we've had some blunders. We've had Chris Jones looking, taking a play off and being lazy at the worst time possible. And everybody else on that defense as well couldn't finish that play when a man falls down twice and you still let him score. That's an unacceptable play all the way around for everybody on that field at that time. The penalties on special teams back-to-back several times in a row. Kicking the ball out of bounds. Bucker's one of the best kickers in football. We know that. We expect him to get on track. All these things we know that are within our control that we're typically great at. I expect us as the season progresses, us to be great at once again.
Right.
And on top of that, the pros, the positives that we know that are going on right now is our offense looks awesome. And we haven't had our number one piece back yet.
Yep.
Our running game has been basically non-existent. I mean, we ran the ball pretty well this past week, but we've had pretty much zero running game, and our offense is averaging almost 30 points a game.
Right.
That's something that we really, really need to pay attention to, and I think the rest of the league is doing that as well. The pick six was really rough. That was tough to see. That's not something that's common.
Right.
That's not something that's going to happen, probably never again for the rest of the season.
Right.
Pat's probably not going to throw another pick six for the rest of the season. That's just something he doesn't do, right? Picks, that's one thing, but a pick six, shit. That's a rare thing to happen for this team. And our offense seems to be getting some rhythm. That's good because for too long, too many times, too many seasons, it felt like we're just out there winging it offensively. So I think there's a lot of great things that we're seeing. The deep ball is pretty much back. We're taking shots every week, several shots a game. That's something that's encouraging. Kelsey looked pretty good last game. We kind of expected that with him being a birthday boy that weekend. A lot of good things to take from as well. But I mean, the record sucks right now. It does suck. But like I said, I'm a sicko, man. I enjoy, just like 2 years ago when we had to go on the road through the playoffs. I loved that shit.
Yeah.
Because we got to remind everybody who we are. And the teams that are successful right now are all the teams that fizzle out towards the end. The Jacksonville Jaguars, yeah, they're having their run right now. Do we really expect them to be a true threat down the stretch? I do not.
No.
Because who's their quarterback? They have a young coach, they have a whole new coaching staff. They got it on us. I get it. The Chargers got their dub on us too. But when it counts, and we know when we have revisionist history and we're looking towards playoff season, we all know who's going to be the one that's going to be on top and who's going to be the team to beat.
Yeah.
This is how it goes. So for me, man, like I'm embracing this shit right now. I'm embracing this suck. As I think all fans should be right now because we know who we are, man. We know these things are going to be fixed. We know Andy Reid's going to have his guys ready to go. We know once Rasheed gets back, that's going to add an element that we've been missing. A lot of after the catch type stuff. Xavier Worthy's not fully healthy yet. There's a lot of things that are still to come that are going to unlock better things. This defense is going to get better. We've allowed too many third down completions, too many third down conversions, third and longs. That's been something we've struggled with for a couple of years now, honestly. But you get that corrected. We start, getting a hot streak going, which could definitely start this weekend against a good foe. But man, for me, bro, I'm embracing this right now, and I think Chiefs fans too. I don't think anyone who thinks the Chiefs are cooked, anybody who thinks the Chiefs are, all the teams, all the talking heads across the nation that had the Chiefs missing the playoffs, they're all just basking in this right now, and I can't wait to crush their dreams, right? Because that's what's going to happen. And Patrick Mahomes is going to do his thing. Patrick Mahomes has looked great. I mean, that pick six, like I said, sucked, but I am in no way discouraged right now, man, by this team. I'm seeing the positives out of this. The things that happened in that game, there was a lot of anomalous things. We collected way too many penalties in that game. It kind of got away from us. I fully believe, and I'm on board with the narrative that we beat ourselves in that game. We were the better team.
Yes.
We had 160 plus yards on them. We had 160 more offensive yards than them, and we had the ball longer. And it's just, I don't know. That's just a frustrating loss. I get it, and everyone's down, and that losing to that team sucks, especially at Arrowhead. That's a situation where we should win those games. But listen, man, we're challenged, and when the Chiefs get challenged, and when our backs are against the wall, we always, in the Patrick Mahomes era, we always know what happens, right? So I have no reason to doubt this team moving forward, if any team. So the resilience is going to come into play here pretty quickly. The pure will of this team and the way Andy Reid's teams fight back, especially under the helm of Patrick Mahomes, I fully expect this team to use this as fuel.
Yeah,
and that's how I'm embracing it as a fan, man. I'm excited to see what they do with this adversity. So that's where I'm at. Yeah, the special team shit's got to get cleaned up, and I fully expect it to be cleaned up. Mm-hmm. If we don't see Cochran on the field again for those plays, I won't be surprised. Maybe get somebody else in that situation, or just, I'm sure he's getting his ass reamed during practice all week. Things like that just can't happen. So, and there was a couple penalties that honestly I felt were pretty questionable that didn't really need to be called, in my personal opinion. But that's every week too, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of things to clean up after that game for sure, especially losing at home. That sucks. The penalties should never be. We should never be the more penalized team when you're at home. That should never happen. The penalties, the noise and everything, all those things, all those pre-snap penalties, things like that, false starts, that should always be on the opposition that comes into your house. We should never out-penalize somebody when we're at home. So that's an unacceptable thing as well, too. But I'm excited. I'm using this as fuel, as I do believe that locker room is as well, to pull something out of it. I fully expect this weekend to see a very motivated Chris Jones. Patrick Mahomes just continue to do what he's been doing all season so far on an MVP caliber play. I expect Xavier Worthy, Travis Kelce, all these guys be extremely motivated to go get this win, man. And that's where I'm at right now. I know it sucks. It's a sucky thing. It's weird being under 500 5 weeks in. That's going to change very quickly, people.
Well, our guy Baca87 had a good or interesting comment that I wanted to get to. He said the defense has given up way too many gotta-have-it third downs, and our 3 losses this year are very different from years past, and it's extremely concerning. That is something I have felt as well. Trevor and I talk about this live during the games, is when it's 3rd and 10, 3rd and 12, I'm still very concerned. And that is where the lack of manufactured pass rush comes into play, because on a 3rd and 12, you shouldn't have to send the dogs to blitz.
Yeah.
You should be able to get pressure with your 4 and have your guys out there playing zone defense and, being able to be all over the field and wait for anything that's thrown underneath. And that's not the case in your Kansas City right now. I know that Spags is going to start developing more of these creative blitzes like he has in the past, and I believe that's going to continue because he's just an absolute genius at what he does. But
this defense is not. This defense is going to get things right.
And that's the thing. The question is, where does it come from? Because I agree with you, but if someone's asked me, okay, well, how does it get better? How do they improve? To me, there's not and we're going to talk about this to our guy Mike Williams in a minute.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a trade out there that's going to be realistic or good enough to upgrade this pass rush. I've been scouring it right now, and I'm not seeing those names out there that are realistic and are guys that come in here and can make waves. I think the only trades out there that are realistic for the Chiefs that can be upgrades are on the offensive side. And like I said, we'll talk about them in a minute. So this is going to have to be an in-house situation for the Chiefs.
Yeah. And I will say Omar Norman Lott hasn't really been available yet.
Right.
That's a guy that's
one of the guys.
That's going to really help Chris Jones. I think I'm not pinning the success of this defense make or break on a rookie. That's not what I'm doing. But I do think he has a skill set that will force teams to maybe have to double team him at times too, because I think he is one of those guys. He's very similar to Chris Jones. He's just going to bull right through you.
Right.
Similar build. So if you have 2 guys on the field at the same time that can do that. I mean, Ashton Jalati has looked really good too at times. But he's more of like a skilled, like kind of guy that's going to, get those swim moves on you and get around you. That's a different skill set. You got 2 bulls with Omar Norman Lott out there with Chris Jones simultaneously. That's something I think this defensive line is missing.
Right.
So pressures up the middle with guys just coming straight through the middle of the interior of the offensive line against these teams is going to help a lot. So getting him healthy and out there on the field, and like you said, getting Noel Williams, guys out there that are ball hawks that can take advantage of when that pressure is getting there, or at least the pressure is existent. Getting a ball hawk out there that can go make plays, read those quarterbacks' eyes, get to the right place at the right time. This defense is gonna right the ship. I promise you guys.
Well, and the way I think one of the ways the Chiefs can up their pass rush. First of all, I think Ashton Jalati needs to get more snaps.
Yeah, he's looked good, man.
Who played decent against the Jaguars, but we're not seeing nearly enough from him. So I would like to see them give the rookie a little bit more time. But I think another way of really adequately helping the pass rush is utilizing Leo Chenal more into it. Leo Chenal has been a guy that in his college career and his NFL career, when he rushes the passer, he has a lot of success.
He was great against Baltimore.
Right.
He was great against Lamar as a spy.
And he's really good in the pass protection, so I understand why Spags likes to use him in that regard. But if you're not getting pressure at any adequate level, you're going to have to be a little more creative, and that isn't involving just corner blitzes and safety blitzes.
Our linebackers have been great. It's our defensive line that's just not getting home on plays. And I think Drew Tranquill's having an incredible year. Yeah. He's already having a better year than he did last year. Last year was a bit of a down year for him as far as his stats go, but he's been all over the place, making plays like a madman. In that Chargers game, he did everything he could. Chris Jones blew that game, honestly. So, Yeah, I think our linebackers, Nick Bolton made maybe the biggest play he'll make all year on that goal line play against Trevor Lawrence. Granted, it was neutralized by the pick six, but yeah, man, I think our linebackers are playing great. I think Spags has those guys humming right now, but it is George fucking Karlaftis, get your ass on the quarterback, bro. Like you're setting the edge, great, but you got to get home. We got to get home on some of these plays. I do want to see some more dialed up DB blitzes too from Spags. We haven't really seen much of that. That's a specialty of his, disguising those, sending Trent or sending Chamari Connor on these blitz packages. I love that stuff. So I want to see some more of that too. We got to do what we got to do to generate pressure on these quarterbacks.
Well, and when it comes to the DBs and how they can get better too, obviously playing Noel Williams has to be a thing. I know that Christian Fulton is working his way back, which will help things big time because he's the only veteran that's getting paid on the DB area as a whole for this team. But I think that there's a chance they're playing Chamari Connor out of position too. Like he's been playing a lot in the slot, and I don't know if that's really his skill position, his skill set.
He's not quick enough.
He's
honestly.
more of like a nickel corner. He's more of like a dime safety.
He's a downfield tackler. He likes to catch it coming up at him.
Yeah, I don't think they're playing him in the correct areas. And again, they know this stuff better than I do, so I'm not trying to like act like I know better. But just from the looks of it, the aesthetics of it, it just doesn't look like Chamari is comfortable in that position. And I think they might be playing him out of his position. I think that Trent needs to play exclusive slot. He needs to play exclusive slot. You need to play Chamari outside, play Noel Williams more, and that's a solution I think they can go with. And speaking of solutions, we're going to need some solutions from our guest here because this is a guy that we go to when it comes to all things draft, all things Chiefs as a whole, and this is a dude that is one of the best content creators out there. Him and his brother Steve do an incredible job on their show at All Chiefed Up. Let's go ahead and give a round welcome to the one and only Mr. Mike Williams. What's up, Mikey?
Hey, what's up, guys? How you guys been?
What's going on, bro?
Life is good, brother. How you doing, man? Everything good with you?
I'm doing good. Getting ready for this game tomorrow. We did our score predictions. The video just went up at like 11:45 Eastern. Nice. So, yeah. I had some thoughts about the game. I don't know what's gonna happen with it, to be honest. I feel decent. But I'm not super confident, and I was just hearing in the backstage area when you guys were talking about that, Chamari Connor's a big reason I don't feel too confident this week.
Yeah, well, why don't we just start from there then, man? Because we have some thoughts and opinions on the Jags game, what the Chiefs do moving forward, trade scenarios. I want to get to those things, but since we're already talking about this with Chamari Connor and this DB room, lack of a pass rush, going into this matchup, I mean, go ahead and add to that, man. Like, where are you guys at right now? Where are you at right now with this matchup? How do you see this thing going?
Right. So, Detroit, they generate a lot of pressure with just their front four. I want to say they're probably like fourth in the NFL by doing this, and they'll do it on about 38% of the time. So, they like to play a lot of man-to-man coverage. That's just the way it is. Their D has utilized man coverage on 42% of the dropbacks this year, which is like fourth in the NFL. It's jumped this year 26% higher on third down than they did last year. So they primarily use man blitz on third down situations. That's an NFL high 44.7% on third down dropbacks. And Mahomes has been ass versus man-to-man this year. And that's an easy way to say it. He has not looked good versus man-to-man coverage this year. If you go back to week 2 versus the Eagles, I want to say they only run man-to-man like 12 times in that entire game. They played zone on him the rest of the time. Anytime he was matched up against man-to-man, he struggled. Last week versus the Jags, they run man at him 9 times in passing situations. He went 2 for 9 with 7 yards and a pick. He also had a touchdown on a man-to-man situation. I'm pretty sure that was the Kelsey rub route there in the end zone. So, I mean, yeah, he did have a touchdown, but 2 for 9 for 7 yards and a pick, and he didn't do much better versus the Eagles in week 2. He's just not looked good versus man-to-man coverage this year. It's just been that's just a simple thing. I don't understand the problem there, to be honest. Usually Mahomes can beat a man-to-man and beat a blitz and eat it alive, and he does routinely beat the blitz. But, I mean, it's just one of those things where it just feels so weird. And then when it comes to the offense, Jared Goff is not a bad quarterback. Like, people forget that. I don't know how that may be one of the first win-win trades I can remember in NFL history with Stafford and Goff. Like, they've both went the other places and been successful, and it actually turned out to be a good thing on both sides. But Jared Goff is 2-0 versus Mahomes. He's got a chance to be 3-0 this week. And the Chiefs defense just is not a good matchup, I think, for the way Detroit runs their offense. They like to run the ball with Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs. We are literally giving up 123 yards on the ground per game. That's not good. They like to run that and then play action pass. The Chiefs are dead last in the NFL against the play action pass, and they've only went up against it 31 times. So, good Lord, if you was to, I mean, Jared Goff may be one of the best play action passers in the game right now. There's times where I remember the play where he play action passed, and he actually, his fake was so good, he actually handed the ball off at one time and got crushed in the backfield, if you remember that play, and almost got like a huge penalty on it. And he's on pace this year for like an MVP season. 41 passing touchdowns is what he's on pace for, to 7 picks, 4,000 plus yards passing. Detroit is a good team. Now, they are obliterated with injuries, but I just think it's not a good matchup for this defense, in my opinion. I think the defense, everything we struggle with, they excel towards. And then it's Mahomes struggling against that man-to-man on third down. We're just going to have to step up. We got to play a great game. It's going to have to be a good game across the board. No boneheaded mistakes, no blunders, and we're going to have good game plans, and that includes Nagy, Reed, and Spags. Everybody's got to bring their A game.
Well, and that's the thing I think a lot of people are wondering, or rather asking, is what is the issue with Mahomes versus the man defense? Because I've seen the same thing. I've noticed that. I know that you guys talked about that in your show this week, and I mean, if you're to ask me, I think it has maybe something to do with the fact that the running game hasn't been consistent enough. So with press man, with, his receivers being thrown off, not having his best receiver out there, not having that guy that can catch a ball and run it for, 15, 20 yards, just that lack of availability and consistency from the running game could be what's keeping this offense off kilter against man defense. I mean, that's just a theory, or maybe just Patrick is not picking up on it. I'm not as quick to say that because I know he's as experienced as pretty much any starting quarterback in the league right now. So I think it has something to do with more of the Jimmies and Joes rather than X's and O's. But you're right, man. There's been a problem there. And speaking of the running situation, I don't know if you saw it or not. I'm all for the Chiefs making a trade to upgrade, get a difference-making player in the pass rush. But I just don't see that guy out there. And I know that you and Steve were talking about Jalen Phillips and maybe kicking the tires there. And it makes sense because he's one of those few guys out there that has that type of potential. But even with him and all of his injury concerns, I don't know if he's going to be a guy that's going to come in here and be a real difference maker. He might be a guy. I don't know if he'll be a real difference maker. I think the Chiefs are going to make a trade for a guy that could be that. And I'm open-minded to it, though, and if somebody can maybe give me a name or a list of names that are out there that could potentially be a trade candidate, I'm all for it. Make it happen. I haven't seen it, and that's why we have you on the show, but I see it more on the offensive side. If the Chiefs are to make a real trade for an upgrade, for a difference maker, it's going to be on the offensive side, in particular, a running back. Now, you know what I've been saying. I know you guys have been saying the same thing. I think that 𝚂𝙿𝙾𝙺 is a great option. From a financial standpoint, from a trade capital standpoint, for draft assets, and for being that guy that can be a real difference maker, a guy that can catch out of the backfield, teach Brashard Smith some stuff, and be a guy that can be effective in the straight-up run game. But I built a scenario yesterday. I put it out there. We can put that on the screen real quick so Mike can see it. These are the 3 trade scenarios I came up with in the most realistic sense. And I wanted to get your thoughts on these, Mike. Which avenue, which scenario would you take, and do you think that any of these are actual realistic options for the Chiefs?
Yeah, let's look at these. So 𝚂𝙿𝙾𝙺 Kamara for a 5th-round pick, release him after the season, retool the running back room. That one honestly seems the most likely. Why? Because the Chiefs do not want to pay running backs, which kind of throws that Devon Achane out because a 3-year, $45 million extension and a 4-year, $56 million extension to Breece Hall. Breece Hall also gives up more draft capital, and Achane as well. Those are going to be more draft capital. I'm with you. Me and Steve have been pitching the Alvin Kamara thing for over 2 years. We went back on, I went back through our videos that we've had, and I pulled a video up from 2 years ago where we were suggesting to go get Alvin Kamara. He would change the game for us. And we've just been on it. And then you've been putting it out lately, and it's been picking up more steam, and I appreciate that because I do like it. A lot of people think he's washed. I mean, he's 30 years old. If you think about it, that was about the age of McKinnon. I think he's going to turn into a McKinnon-style back, and that will extend his career. But again, I don't think you need him no more than a one-year borrow for this season. And if he wants to sign long-term for a good rate, okay. If he wants to stay here and do the McKinnon role, fine. Now, I don't think he's going to come in. If you're wanting a guy to come in and just be a guy that gets 15 carries a game and looks really good on the run game, he ain't your guy. And I'm going to tell you, Andy Reid ain't your coach. And you're not getting that. The whole narrative that Patrick Mahomes is our leading rusher to this point is the most bullshit narrative I've ever heard in my life. He is not being called to go out and run the ball into boxes. He's not being called for design run plays. He is catching people in deep zones or man-to-man 30 yards up the field and seeing green grass and just going. Whereas he's also got 28, 29 times leaving the pocket. I want to say that Kareem Hunt and Pacheco together are only averaging like 30 carries this year, like throughout 5 games. So they've only got 4 or 5 more carries than he does. And there's our design to run into the box. So It's like, these are just dumb things. I think that Andy Reid and the whole running back scenario is because of the running back by committee. Nobody gets into a groove. Nobody gets, Kareem Hunt's the style of back, in my opinion, that if he were a little younger, and I know at this age he's not that guy, but if he were a little younger, like we've heard Derrick Henry be thrown around. Derrick Henry is not going to do well here. You can't give Derrick Henry 6 carries a game and expect him to do what he does. He beats the hell out of you and then grinds you out in the fourth quarter, and that's where he starts chunking them off. And he doesn't commit to the run game. And I don't think Kamara's not that guy either, honestly. But he is more explosive. So maybe on his 7, 8, 9 carries, and maybe Andy gives him a little more carries because he trusts him more. But we also seen a first ballot Hall of Famer come over last year in the offense with D-Hop, and they wouldn't even try to get him the ball. So who knows what Andy would try to do there. So I think Kamara would be more of a weapon to be used like McKinnon. And again, you ask yourself, we do have Brashard Smith, and he's looked pretty good in his limited action, and he's going to do that as well. So Is it worth it, or do you just trust Brashard Smith a little bit more and see what happens? I don't think we use the run game enough to maybe give up a lot. So for me, Kamara would be the way I would want to go.
Absolutely. And just to let you know, our lady, and I know she's your lady too, Julia Gulia, said it's about to get horned. It's about to get horned up in here. So if you don't know what that means, man, it's a language you need to follow in the ACU universe because they got their dialect over there, man. I always enjoy it when I see the regulars come over here and hang out with us when ACU isn't online. So, but I need to get this. I need to get something from you here, man, because I asked this question at the top of the show, and it's such a, because you're talking about the run game and how Andy just does not use running backs. I'm seeing people talking about, oh man, if the Chiefs could have got Cam Scatterboo, he'd be a monster in this offense. Yeah, he's going to get 10 carries a game. He's not going to be used like he is in New York. It's a different game here in Kansas City. We know it's all pass heavy in Andy Reid's offense, and that's just not changing. But on the defensive side, I'm trying to understand what Spags is doing here. Because we saw this with 𝚂𝙭 last year when they made the trade to bring him in, and they just never played him. And now he's having this baller season. And now we're seeing Noel Williams being this dog when he's been given opportunities. And we see him get 4 freaking snaps against the Jaguars. Yeah. And it'd be one thing if Christian Fulton was back. Because, he's that guy that, has the contract, and, you want to play your veteran, and you want to work this young kid in. Fine, I can live with that excuse. I can live with it if Chamari Connor didn't give up 10 catches on 11 targets last week, but he, like I said earlier, looks like a piece of burnt toast with a helmet on. So what is happening? What is Spags thinking? And I mean that in the most respectful way because I love Spags, but, Mike, it doesn't make sense to me, bud.
Yeah, I don't understand that one either. I think Noel Williams, for one, you just said it. Christian Fulton has not even been sort of reliable to this point. Like, I can't even think of a play he's made so far this season. The only time I ever see his name is if he's on the injury report. I don't think it was a bad signing, but if he's not going to contribute, then maybe it was a bad signing. So hopefully he can get rolling. But, you know, with Jaylen Watson, he's off and on, hit or miss. He looked bad in week 1. He started to look better. He looked bad last week on the final drive. Jaylen Watson gets burned deep up the right sideline. And again, Chamari Connor was late getting there to help him. So that's a Chamari Connor whiff as well. 2 plays later, you have him getting beat by, what's his name, Brown? The kid that come over from the Commanders, he gets beat over there on a big one. And then Chamari gives up a PI in the end zone because he's not turned around. So it's like those 2 guys literally led up that entire drive there at the very end. And it's like, I'm guessing, here's the only thing I can guess about Spags, and I would think he would want to play Noah Williams to keep him progressing and to keep him to get to a point to where he can start to contribute late if Fulton never gets healthy or Watson continues to struggle or whatever it may be. Maybe McDuffie misses a game. I mean, he rarely does, but what if he hurts a hammy and he's out 2 weeks? You want a guy that can come in and produce, and I think Noah Williams is on track, and not to mention Noah Williams is a Spags guy. He is a guy that can get up on the line and beat the hell out of you. He is a guy that's going to bump cover you into the dirt like Snead did to Tyreek Hill that year. He is the physical ball hawk, like a Marcus Peters style. Yeah. And to only give him 4, that was malpractice. It really was. That was a terrorist act. He should be on a watch list. That's all there is to it. And he's got to get it together this week. But the reason he may have done it, and this is the only reason I can figure out, is because they didn't feel like McDuffie versus Travis Hunter was a good enough matchup, or that he could win that matchup consistently. And Travis Hunter is primarily their slot guy. At least he had been up to that point. So I don't think they really valued McDuffie to just cover Hunter in the slot. I don't know if they thought that was a good enough matchup or if it just wasn't needed because they didn't respect Travis Hunter's game because he's not a full-time wide receiver. So that's the only thing I could come up with. And I'll just leave it at that because I don't want to question Spags. I'm nowhere near in Spags' mind frame with football. This dude has forgotten more in his sleep last night than I'll ever know. So I don't want to be that overly critical of him. But so I'm just going to go with that. We're just going to say Spags had an uncharacteristic brain fart week, and maybe he gets it together this week.
Well,
he needs to get it together this week.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and speaking of another veteran on the defensive side that's, you know, just got himself an extension, George Karlaftis is getting pressures.
Yeah.
He's getting pressures, but I said this on Twitter yesterday, pressures only matter to me if you're getting sacks, because otherwise that's just a real nice thing to say. Oh, I mean, he's getting around the quarterback. Yeah. I mean, he's making him think a little quicker, I guess. I mean, that works, but the results have to be there. Results are getting sacks, getting hits on the quarterback, and that's not happening right now. Now, I know that Karlaftis is on pace to have a good season, but right now I'm not seeing the guy that we were expecting to see after this contract extension. You know, once you get that real pay, you know, and you're paid to be a dude, it's got to change. There's got to be an uptick, and I'm not seeing it right now. Are you seeing the potential starting to rise for Karlaftis, or are you starting to feel a little worried about it as well?
I'm with you. Karlaftis is, I don't think that contract was a bad contract by any means. I think it pays for itself pretty good. The fact that he plays out another year before it actually kicks in or something like that to help with the money, I think by the end of it, he's not even going to be a top 15 to 20 paid dude. So I think Brett Veach really got a good deal there. It looks weird on paper, especially when, like you said, he's not really getting sacks, but he's getting a lot of pressures. Here's what I'll say about Karlaftis. He's an effort guy, and all of his pressures are effort pressures. That's all they are, because he's averaging 2.47 seconds to get to the quarterback. To me, that's not a legit pressure. That's called the quarterback's on his 4th read, and he's about to have a cold beer and a hot dog back there, and then George Karlaftis is like, nay, not today, buddy. You will not have a hot dog on my field. And he's like, I will chase you, but I won't catch you. and then you will get off my grass, get off my lawn. That's what he does. So I don't know. I like Karlaftis. I respect what he brings. But again, I've always said this. He fell to the back end of the first round because he didn't have enough closing burst, and he wasn't a quick twitch guy. And in the NFL, that's what you need. Sacks pay the bills, sacks keep the light on, and that's the only thing people want at the end of the day. So he can pressure all he wants, but he's going to be under pressure to perform more because he's not getting sacks. And so we got him. He's a Spags dude. He's great. He's great character. Everything about George I love. But yeah, he's never going to be that top tier. He's not going to be your Micah Parsons. He's not going to be all these top tier dudes that get after the pass rusher. He's just not it. He is what he is, and the Chiefs have dropped the ball. Now, I don't think it's for lack of trying. They've tried to draft people. They've tried to go get Charles Omenihu and this and that, but there's just nobody on that other side. It's Karlaftis. It's Chris Jones. They drafted a dog in Omar Norman-Lott that goes and eats quarterbacks. And what did they do? Let's put 30 pounds on him and make him Derek Nottie Jr. And that made zero sense. And then let's go ahead and bring Derek Nottie back and give up more draft capital to watch the lowest rated defensive tackle in football through 5 weeks. What the hell are we doing with the defensive line? So Mike Dana, we overpaid him. They could have just let him go. He didn't need to be signed on that contract. I don't think Charles Omenihu's all that great either. He talks a huge game, but he just now decided in week 5 that was, first week of the season. Maybe he thought the first 4 weeks of the season were an extended preseason games. I don't know what he was doing, but they've got to get it together. There's really nobody there to help Chris Jones and Karlaftis. And so, to answer your question, George is never going to be a top tier guy in my opinion. He is a 15 to 30 type of dude. I think he's more around that 15 best pass rusher in the league, but he's not elite. He's not the elite guy. He's not going to be that guy.
Well, that leads me to talk about the guy that is elite or is supposed to be elite in this defense, and that's Chris Jones. I talked about it briefly, before we got you to join the show today. And look, after a few days of seeing the play and hearing Chris Jones talk about it, I understand from his viewpoint, he thought the play was over. And I understand that, and he gets the benefit of the doubt for the majority of that. My issue, though, is the optics still matter. And when you are the highest paid player on your defense, when you are the captain of this defense, when you're the guy that is supposed to make those types of plays, literally signing up to do so by going on playing defensive end on crucial third downs, and not getting these plays down, but not only not making these plays, but then being caught standing there watching as Trevor Lawrence, like I said, looks like the popcorn girl meme at the theater where she's falling all over herself and the popcorn goes everywhere. That's what Trevor Lawrence looked like in that play. Still finds a way to score, and you're standing there looking like a spectator. It looks bad. And I appreciate Chris Jones and what he's done for this team for so many years now. I still think he's still got that dude in him. I'm not doubting who Chris Jones is, but I'm going to be real with you. He does at times looks like a guy that's a little content with his career and his bank account because he's made a ton of money. He's won a ton of rings so far. But I don't want to attack him because of just that situation. This season as a whole has been very frustrating because, like we said, from the very beginning, 3rd and 14 against the Chargers in Brazil, he lines up on the outside, which I'm totally good with because he can get to the quarterback. But he goes on the inside, and Herbert runs on the outside, and the game's over. Him and Tranquil are fighting amongst themselves. He disappears for large portions of the game. I understand he's double teamed. This is why I defend him so much. He gets double teamed more than anybody else out there. So much is put on him to manufacture pass rushes, and being an interior presence is very difficult to do that in itself.
Yeah.
But I need to see more from him. I know that sounds unfair, but when you're paid the way he is, and you're the captain of this defense, and you're out there jumping your other teammates' asses and trying to rah-rah them, you got to back it up with your own play as well, man. Where are you at right now with Chris Jones as a whole this season?
Yeah, I'm with you. It was optics on that play. You can't be a pillar of the Chiefs, and he is. He's one of the 4, maybe the 5 biggest pillars of the Chiefs, going with Andy Reid and Kelsey and Mahomes, and I would put Chris Jones right there as the 4th pillar, and maybe through this whole dynasty run, you might put Butker in there. Who knows? He's made a lot of big kicks there, so those are your consistents, and I'm sure we'll get to that in a minute with Butker, but Chris Jones, it's optics. When I rewatched that last play, Do I honestly think he makes that play and gets the impact and gets over there? No, not unless he can have a 10-yard split of a Tyreek Hill. I don't think he does it, but I do think that just the fact that he didn't make the effort, people look at the money, they look at who he is, they look at everything else, and they're like, look, he quit, and they're mad. And look, that's a big, vast difference from how they were the week before when they were praising him because of his aunt dying and him flying and coming back and making an impact. And it's like, I think we got to be give him a little bit of grace. I think these dudes are humans outside of football, and that was one particular play. And, you know, it felt like a fluke play. It really did. I don't think he makes much of an impact if he tries, honestly, because of the way Lawrence fell and got out. On that play, I want to say Charles Omenihu just got freaking put on his back. He was 6 inches in the dirt by the time the tackle and the guard got done with him. So, you know, Trevor Lawrence stumbles around and steps over his body and goes on in the end zone. So it's, you know, with Chris Jones, he's 1 week, what is it, 10, 11 days, and he had to bury his aunt. And he's already said it's his second mom. I think you give people a little grace. People grieve. People go through things. Who knows? I'll give him a little bit of a pass, but he does have to pick it up. Chris Jones has not been as good this year. This is one of the slowest, if not the slowest start he's had since he's been here. His pressure rate right now is a career low 12.9%. That is really, really bad. That ranks 65th in the NFL, and his pass rush win rate is 12.9. That ranks 82nd. So he is not winning right now. Now, as you said, when he lines up on the outside, he does better. And after I've watched every Chris Jones snap this year, I've went back and watched it on all 22, he does not win from the outside on the right tackle, which is where he lined up with versus, was it Herbert you mentioned? He got outside because he tried to cut in on that play. Yep. He does not win on that side. He wins versus left tackles, which is kind of wild. Versus the left tackle, he's got a 20.6 pressure rate, which would be 8th best in the NFL that's had at least 20 snaps from that alignment. So in comparison, 𝚂𝙿𝙾𝙺 Hutchinson in that same alignment ranks 21st with only 16% win rate. So Jones actually is 4% higher than him coming against their best blocker, the left tackle. So in my opinion, Charles Omenihu and Mike Dana's not getting it done. Why don't we let Jones go out there and eat on that side? Let Karlaftis go up the middle, and maybe now with a healthy Omar Norman Lott, maybe you kick Omenihu down on the inside. He can do that. Maybe we try something like that and let Chris Jones rush from that spot over there and I think that. I come up with that this week. I thought that was a good idea. Now, I don't know if Spags is going to adapt it, but I found it very interesting when I went back and watched all those that Chris Jones was winning from the defensive end position, not against the right tackle, but against the left, which is wild because the left tackle is, you know, routinely the best blocking guy on your team. At least he should be. So, yeah, I think that's pretty staggering numbers when you look at his win rate there versus everywhere else. Anywhere else he lines up, be it, you know, a zero tech all the way out to the right tackle, playing a 9 technique out there, anywhere on the guards to the tackle, he's only got 13 pressures this year, which is a 9% win rate. And that was on like 122 pass snaps. So he's not winning anywhere but over that left tackle, which is wild to me, but he's got to get it together. I think he will. I'm not worried about Chris Jones. I'm not worried about Butker. I think these guys, when the lights are the brightest, they will be there and perform. I think it's just nitpicking at this point because the Chiefs are just losing.
And that's a fair assessment. And I still want to talk about Butker, but to kind of pedal back to what you're just saying about Chris and the criticism that comes to him and knowing what he's had to take on in his personal life and knowing how much is on him every single Sunday, knowing how much is on this team every single Sunday. Because I've always been of the belief that no Sunday is created equal for any team, because we know that the Panthers are playing out there on Sundays without a microscope or a micronism of pressure that the Chiefs deal with every single week. And I'm talking about just regular season games. We know the Chiefs are getting everyone's Super Bowl effort. Maybe not their game, but their effort. And so that's a lot of pressure, and especially when you're playing on all these primetime games, and you're traveling to Brazil to start your season against a divisional foe who wants to come out and do nothing but beat you, and they're healthy for the 1 week they were actually healthy technically. You know, that's a lot to deal with. So I'm with you on that. And I think that Chris is going to bounce back. I think that this defense is going to get better. I actually love the idea you just came up with about him lining up more on the outside against the left tackle. For whatever reason, he wins like that. Because also, to that point, Chris, it doesn't play interior to stop the run. That's not his skill set. He's there to get the quarterback. So if this helps get the Chiefs defense in the right direction where he's getting more adequate pressure, and that adds to the incentive of playing a minute on the inside who's not winning on the outside, if it gives these, Norman Lott more snaps, hell, sign me up. So I'm with that.
Yeah.
You're probably right. Spags probably doesn't go with that direction, but I think it's a genius idea because it's one of the real solutions out there that can help manufacture pass rush on a legitimate basis without having to send a corner every single time, or seeing Tranquil or Nick Bolton, where you have to, sacrifice something else. Because to that point, even further, what we're seeing is a borderline epidemic on this defense, to where these quarterbacks that don't normally run very well are having high levels of success of running against this defense. Trevor Lawrence is not known to run very well. He looked like Michael Vick with a blonde wig on in that game. I mean, he was running all over this damn defense. Justin Herbert, not known to run a ton. He's mobile, but he ran all over that defense in week 1. Like, that's frustrating as hell to see, man. So whatever they got to do to get rid of that part of the defense, or get rid of that problem with the defense, it's got to happen. So let's talk about Butker real quick, because I'm with you. I'm not overall worried about him. But, Mike, I can't ignore what I'm seeing now, because it's 5 straight weeks he's done things that are so uncharacteristic of his own nature. I understand that he dealt with the injury from last year. He's had to bounce back for that. Probably had to adjust the way he kicks the ball a little bit, because we know that he's been that guy that kind of does the knee after, he kicks that low torque. That isn't really there anymore, so I know he's adjusting. But some of these misses have been so bad, and the kick out of bounds this last week was so weird, because that's not something Harrison Butker ever does. And that's just, it was very frustrating, because the situation could not have happened at the worst time, dude. And it really happened at the worst time. I know you said you're not worried about him, but maybe kind of give us some insight of what the hell is happening with Harrison, and how does he bounce back?
Right. You mentioned him not going down to that knee. Like, we always thought that was a thing. Like, dude, that's going to hurt that dude. I don't think we looked into that well enough. He's prepared his whole life to go down to that one knee, because he's Catholic, and that's all they do when they go to church, baby. It's up and down, probably 4,000 times. So he's got great knees. So why in the world are we worried about him going down to a knee? Like, I think we should just let him go back and kick it the way he wants to kick it, okay? But, yeah, with Butker, I don't has he made mistakes? Absolutely. But I think pinning everything on Butker all the time for where we are is just weird. Butker's on the field literally 6 plays a game maximum, and you're going to blame him for every loss we've taken right now, knowing that nobody's performing. There's been some really crazy game plans. It just, to me, it feels odd. I feel like a lot of people attack him just because, honestly, they don't like some of his political stuff and his religion or whatever. I feel like that's why he gets a lot of it, and that's what does bring on more criticism. I get it when you're kind of polarizing and you do something that's the slightest bit somebody can pounce on you, they're going to pounce. So, I mean, he brought it on himself, but again, that's who Butker is, and we all know it, and we love it when he's hitting field goals from 50 out and winning playoff games. But so if you look at some of his misses this year, I think he missed an extra point, okay, but I'm pretty sure that was after a 15-yard penalty that got it pulled all the way back, so it wasn't a normal extra point. It kind of happened spur of the moment. You had to go kick a longer kick than you're prepared for right there. Tobe's the one that wanted him to push the ball out to the right, knowing that this is an oblong object that bounces crazy ways. Like, you can't just put it, it's not a golf ball. You can't just put it out there and watch it spin back. So I think that was just a blunder anyway. He kicks it out of bounds, it goes to the 40, okay? Whoop-de-doo. Who gives a shit it went to the 40? If he kicked it out of the back of the end zone, it went to the 35. Are we really bitching about 5 yards? The Chiefs defense walked them up the field, and when they weren't doing it, there was yellow laundry everywhere just waiting to be thrown. Even when Lawrence got in the end zone there at the very end and we're all blaming Chris Jones, did you not hear the announcers? They had already threw a flag for defensive holding. They were going to walk them into the end zone. That's all there was to it. The Jags were going to win that game. The officiating, I think the officiating crews have taken so much heat because of media, ESPN, you name it, every announcer out there. It's become a false narrative that they helped the Chiefs, and I think the NFL's trying to distance themselves. And I told Steve it would happen this year, and you're going to see way more polarizing calls going against the Chiefs, even if they're wrong. The rub route by Travis Kelce and Juju, they had thrown the flag. That was a totally legal play, and they were trying to take that off the board. And again, we had 13 penalties in that game. So if that one stands, there's 14. If the Trevor Lawrence one would have stood because we made the hit in the pocket, there's 15 penalties. How many penalties were we going to get? Like, they were going to run it up to 45 or 50 before it was over with, I think. So it's crazy because we can't even talk about it. We're the Chiefs, and it's a false narrative that we get every call, so now we're just complainers. It's a beautiful setup. The league and all of the butthurt fans league-wide and everybody else have made this beautiful, cope stew into which we can't win because we're hated, and even when we lose, you can't blame anything else but just the fact that we're just sucked and we're washed. That's all we're allowed to say, or we're complainers.
Yeah, and that's so funny you say that, because I've decided to take this approach, this consistent approach with any and everybody that comes at me and says these very things about, the games are fixed, or, there's a change now. That's why the Chiefs are getting all these penalties. There's a change now, like you're saying, about how the league is tired of catching heat and taking shit for it, so they're overcorrecting. But what's funny about that is that since Mahomes took over in 2018, the Chiefs are one of the most highly penalized teams in the league and has the least favorable from ratio to ratio penalties against and for. So I find that funny. But what I always do is I create this challenge now for people. If they feel that way, they think that's what's happening, show me the plays that the Chiefs have won games because that's the accusation. They're winning Super Bowls because of refereeing and officiating. Show me the plays. Because if you want to show me the play of Juju getting held by Bradbury himself admitted he held, and the picture is clear as day, there's a hold. So any play that they even can come up with is a legitimate call, and that's what I find funny about when the officiating conversation starts to come about. It always just gets so nonsensical, because then it's just a narrative-driven conversation. It's not based on fact. It's just based on, I'm sick of seeing the Chiefs win, so if any call goes in their direction, even if it's legitimate, it's bullshit. And that's what's bullshit, ironically, about it all. So a couple questions I have for you left, and Mike, I really do appreciate you taking time on your Saturday here, man. I know you guys are busy with your own show and you have your own life. We very much appreciate you doing this, brother. But a couple questions for you. Tyquan Thornton has taken on a real role in this offense, and I don't think that's going to change, even when Rasheed is back. But I think that it's going to be interesting to see what his role is. I know he'll probably just be a deep threat guy, going, just down the seam, just making deep plays, things of that nature. Which, being that big and that fast, you take advantage of that as an offense that has a guy like that. It's just wild to me that he was an outcast for the Patriots and now has become like this reliable asset for the Chiefs offense. Do you anticipate? I know we got a long, runway before this is even really a conversation. But do you think that Tyquan Thornton could have himself a long-term career here in Kansas City?
Short answer, yeah. If Brett Veach decides that he's, if he'll sign a contract that works with the team, I fully don't expect Hollywood back next year. So I think that, yes, you could. I think you pay Rashee Rice long-term. I really do. We've not really got to see a lot of Jalen Royals. The worst case of knee tendonitis known to man hit that fella. I mean, I'm talking like not a single, they might try to ban, he may be the reason they tried to ban Tylenol. I don't even know. They said some dude in Kansas City's bought up every Tylenol in the state. And I don't know what happened to him, but I think he's got a decent future here. And Xavier Worthy, he's actually turned into a dog. I love Xavier Worthy. I didn't think, I was kind of wrong about that. I said, look, I don't think Xavier Worthy's a first round pick. I think he's like a early second. And I was wrong. I'll admit that. I'm wrong about Xavier Worthy because you kind of had a little bit of a Sky Moore scare, and you're like, oh God, let's not do this again. Xavier Worthy's actually done that. And I've seen where Carrington Harrison, is his name Harrison? Carrington Harrison.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah. I think he hates us. I don't know why. Everybody hates us, bro. Like, I just don't get it. Like, we're such nice gentlemen. Like, I'm such an easy dude to get along with if you'll just try. But see, there's no try. So
you and
anyways,
we might have to have a conversation off air about this one, but trust me when I say there's a certain level of jealousy that's there, buddy. So feel complimented by it.
If you're watching, brother, I mean, you can reach out. I'll buy you a coffee or something. I mean, I'm a cool dude. But yeah, he had tweeted the other day and said something like, we may be seeing Xavier Worthy's size, and this is what I was afraid of causing all this. And I'm like, his size had something to do with his little ankle swelling up. I've never heard of a skinny person having ankle problems. That's a fat person problem, bro.
Right.
Like, and did his 165 pounds cause Travis Kelce to blindside him and knock his arm off? Like, I don't think he Kendalled him right there in the middle of Brazil. Like, he's flopping around with no arm. And it's like, bro, that has nothing to do with how much he weighs. He could have been 400 pounds and Kelce was going to knock him out. Like, if you're not paying attention, it's just, that's what's going to happen. It was a fluke play. So I kind of called that out. Of course he didn't like it. It is what it is. But yeah, man, I don't know. I think Tyquan Thornton does have a role in this offense, and I think he'll continually roll in this offense. A lot of people are scared, like you said, maybe Rashee Rice causes that to go away. I don't think so. I mean, we spoke earlier about why is Patrick Mahomes struggling against man-to-man, and you mentioned the run game and everything, and that is probably it. But I honestly think it's because this year, when Mahomes gets man-to-man, he's trying to take a deep shot, and he's not connecting with them all that much. They rank, I think he's had 26 deep shots this year, which I don't know where that ranks. But he's been pretty inconsistent with it. 27th overall at 27% there on those. So I think he's getting in man coverage, and he's using them to take the deep shot and try to put points on the board and be aggressive. And it's just falling a little short. And so that's why he comes out and he connects with 2, and then he has 7 incompletions. Not saying he threw all 9 deep, but that's a big chunk of that. So that's where Mahomes is trying to do it. He's only completed 7 deep passes this year, but they have averaged out to be about 40 yards, which is crazy. 35 air yards per attempt, which is second in the NFL. So he's doing it, and his primary target is Tyquan Thornton. Thornton's caught 5 of 14 deep targets for 186 yards. So he's built to do this. He's built to play that MVS role, and we've not had that over the past few years. So I do believe that Tyquan Thornton has a role for the rest of this year. I think he probably finishes the season. Now, I don't think he stays on this pace, but I think he probably goes, 500 to 700 yards, probably gets 5 to 7 touchdowns somewhere in that region is what I would say for Tyquan. And I would love to pair him up with Jalen Royals and Xavier Worthy and Rashee Rice going forward for a few years. I think that'd be pretty lethal.
My last question here for you, it's kind of a season-long prediction. But I gotta get this on. I gotta get this while you're here with us, because right now, there's a lot of uncertainty. I think that we're all very confident the Chiefs are going to start to bounce back and get on the roll here. But to the credit of the Chargers and the Broncos, they are ahead of the Chiefs right now in the division. But I don't personally think that's going to last. I think that when the season is over, I do believe that the Chiefs are still going to win this division. I know that sounds nuts right now after 5 games. And the Chiefs have a losing record. But we saw this very same thing in 2021 happen, where this team was turning the ball over like crazy, couldn't play defense. The Chiefs just looked broken, and then they found a way, won the division, hosted the AFC Championship after having a losing record through 7 games. I think that this is going to be a very similar type of season. I'm not saying they're the same exact teams, but to your point, all the consistents, all the captains, all the guys that were relied upon mostly back then are still on this roster and still the guys that they're expecting to be those guys. I think this is a very talented roster. In fact, I think this might be even better team overall than they were last year when they won 15 regular season games, as crazy as that sounds. But I want to hear you, Mike. What is your forecast for this team? I think that you're probably confident they make the playoffs and all that stuff, but I don't want to put words in your mouth. Where do you think the Chiefs, when the season is done, where are the Chiefs at in the pecking order, in the echelon of the AFC playoff picture?
Right. So last year we were 15-2, most wins in franchise history, and we done it all by literally the skin of our teeth. It was one play, two plays that decided it. One score, 2 points, 1 point, you name it. Just in the first few weeks of the season, it was that crazy, the toe in the back of the end zone versus the Ravens. It was the call against, the Bengals there at the very end of the game. We had this consistently. We barely pulled out a win versus the Panthers. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was just so weird. And I always said that if you didn't fix some of the big things, which was to get a little more explosive in the run game, to get more receivers, which shout out Brett Veach, he did that. We had to get a better pass rush. We didn't do that. And so we're seeing a lot of the same things we did last year. And this year, the cookie's just not crumbling in our direction. That's just the way it is. This is a big-time parity league. And this year, more than any, I don't see any standalone teams that are just like clear-cut favorites, in my opinion. I think the Eagles are pretty much frauds. The Rams, I thought, looked good, and then they've kind of squandered. The Ravens have fell apart. It's so weird. And the Chiefs, look at how undominating we look, which is wild. But I think at this point in the season last year, what were we, 5-0? This team right here probably beats last year's team. Like, well, no, we got a better offense. Like, so we probably, we won last year on just hope and some pretty good game plans by Andy Reid, such as the whole getting Juju involved versus the Saints, getting Kareem Hunt back just in time and getting him integrated. So, and the defense carried a lot last year. So I do believe at 5 weeks in, going into week 6, this team, I feel, is a better team. And I know you don't like Warren Sharp, but we had him on our show. Warren is here's what I'll say about Warren Sharp. He writes that book that's literally like the Bible every year. So he is an analytical dude, but I think he overanalyzes to the point where he won't use common sense sometimes. Yeah, but he is like a computer, and he's a pretty smart dude. Like, I think I can remember shit to spout off. This dude, he's calling out stuff from 1980, the pass rush percentage of the Bears or something, and I'm like, I don't get it. But so he's a computer. He's not even a human. And he said that he thought by the end of the year, the Chiefs may have 6 or 7 losses, but he thought that even with those 6 or 7 losses, they were a better team than last year. And I was right there with him. I was saying the Chiefs could lose 5 or 6 by the end of the year. And of course, when we're doing those predictions live, Chiefs fans don't want it. They wanted the perfect season. And so you'll kind of cater to it a little bit, and you'll be like, okay, well, maybe we'll only lose 4 or 5. But I fully thought the Chiefs were on the table to lose 5 or 6 this year. Now, 7 and 8 was off the table for me, but 5 was where I was comfortable falling. And for me, I don't think the Chiefs have hit rock bottom yet. Like, that is just this gut feeling I have. As bad as it's looked this year, I don't think we've hit rock bottom. I haven't seen that one thing that just hits us so hard that it jolts this team and puts a fire in their ass. If the Super Bowl didn't do it in week 1, and if losing to the freaking Eagles didn't do it again in week 2 in your first home game, barely squeezing by the Giants, barely, we beat up on a Lamarless Ravens team that missed literally 45 out of their 60 players on their roster was on IR. So it's like, and then we cave in the last minute of that game last week versus the Jags. I don't think we've hit rock bottom yet. I think there's going to be one more event, one more it gets worse before it gets better moment, and I think that's versus the Lions this week. I think the Lions might put one on us, and I'm sad to say that, but I think that it could get out of control. Now, it could be a Chiefs win if Andy Reid would do what he didn't do last year and what he routinely does not do, which is to go up and put your foot on their throat and beat the hell out of somebody. But he lets his foot off the gas and he lets them back in, and then we lose momentum. That's exactly what happened last week. So I'm scared to death to say it, but I think the Lions could put one on us this week. But if they do, I think that's the rock bottom moment. I think from then on, these guys focus. And yes, it would look bad at 2 and 4. But honestly, like you said, our division's not all that. I think we could still chunk off 10 wins in a row right after going 2-4, and we finish the season somewhere around like 4, 5, 6 losses, and I think that's good enough to get in the playoffs. And with the Chiefs and Andy Reid, that's all you got to do. So I'm there with you. I think by the end of the year, even if we lose versus Detroit, I think we win the division. I don't think that's a thing, and I think we make some noise in the playoffs like always.
That was very well said, man. I'm looking forward to a scenario like that because I'm not, to be honest with you, that would be very satisfying from the way things have been so far, because I'm with you. I think that they may have to fall a little bit further before they finally wake up and they start to get on that famous Reedian run, as our guy Clay Windler likes to say. But regardless, I think it's inevitable that it's going to happen. Maybe it has to be Rashee Rice getting back, but I think that this team's going to get right when it matters most, and I'm very confident they'll be back to where they've been over the last 7-8 years. So, and Mike, I always feel better when I know that you agree with me on that. So, but with that said, man, again, thank you so much for hanging out with us today, for taking some time with us, man. I know you guys have a very busy schedule on your own, creating content and your own life, but dude, I always appreciate when you come on the show and you help us out and you give us the insight and the information that we desperately need around here, man. So don't be a stranger. Hit me up whenever you need me, bro. I'll gladly jump on the show when you guys need me. But again, thank you so much for being here. Give my best to Steve. Give my best to everybody on your side of things. And I hope everything's going well with you, brother. Everybody give my guy a follow, All Chiefed Up. You guys know where they're at. And if you could, real quick, Mike, let the people know when your guys' next show's coming up and when they can expect to see your guys' faces again on the screen.
Right. So I mentioned before I got on here, I was up at the ass crack of dawn today. Have you ever woke up so early that you just want to throw up? Like, that's it. I was up at the throw up hour this morning on a Saturday. And I was like, the cocks were crowing and I was in the bathroom like, ugh. I just didn't want to be there. And so I knocked out a video. So after this is over, go find our video we dropped today. We got our Lions predictions, and you might know where I was going with that, which isn't going to be popular. But I will say I curse people sometimes. So let's think I put a curse on the Lions. That's what I was going for. And so, yeah, that's it. And then we're going to have, before the game on Sunday, we're going to have a pregame before. People ask for it. We've been trying to deliver, but it gets a little slow because people watch football, you know? So I don't know how long that's going to last, but get over there, watch that. And then, of course, we're always live after the game, and we do 5 videos a week. You guys know it. And Lance, we just hit 50K last night, bro. That's insane.
Congratulations, man.
Oh, yeah.
Dude,
you guys deserve
we
that.
have been waiting for that, bro. And it happened. It was slow. We were watching it. It was at 49,999 last night. And we were cracking up, dude. Steven sent me a screenshot and he was like, I don't know what's going on this year, but it's been really slow, bro. And I was like, it has. It's felt like a slow year. And I think Chiefs fans, we got our ass kicked in the Super Bowl. And then, like, I feel like we're just not a fun team right now. So people are just like, I don't want to talk about football. So it's felt so slow this year. So we had a bet going, are we going to lose a follower before we get to the 50,000? So we were cracking up. Was it going to go to 998 or to 50,000 first? And we had a bet going for about 21 minutes. And then it ticked up to the 50. So
hell yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome. We appreciate everybody, and you guys have been a big help too. I know that you shout us out all the time on X. You guys always talk about us. That's one thing we don't get a lot of. We don't get a lot of validation in Chiefs Kingdom. I don't know if it's our area. I don't know what it is. Maybe we didn't go to college to be broadcasters. I don't know what it is, but we don't get it. But it's validation enough to have 50K at doing something, and it doesn't go by us for a day that. It's pretty amazing that just 2 dumbasses can find a passion and to come on here and cover the thing we love every day. And it's awesome. And it's because of you guys, and it's because of everybody watching, man. And we just appreciate everybody. It's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, the validation, I think, comes from the fact that the results are there for you guys. People follow you guys for a reason. They get a lot of content out there that feels very dishonest, feels like there's always a narrative to push. There's always an agenda. Your guys' agenda is to simply just talk football, and you guys are very interactive with your chat. It's inspired us here because I know that when we first started this show, I was so hell-bent on giving people my opinion, but I remembered that that wasn't the reason why I started this from the beginning. And when I saw the way you guys were interactive with your chat live, I told Trev, I'm like, bro, we got to change this up. We got to be more interactive with the people. And so trust me when I say the validation may not seem like it's always there, but I promise you, you guys are making impact. I have friends that are constantly sending me texts about, hey, I saw you guys all chiefed up talking about this today. What do you think about this? Like, they're constantly sending me your videos. They're constantly sending me your content. You guys are killing it, dude. And that 50,000 is just a precursor of what's to come for you guys. So keep up what you're doing. Keep being great at what you do. And I promise you guys that the prominence is going to continue to fall upon you guys, man, for the great work that you guys put into this, because it isn't phony shit you put out there. You guys put out real content, and you're motivating a lot of us other content creators, and you're gaining ground, bro, in the attention of the people out there that want to consume the content that you guys provide. So keep it going. Mike, I'm proud of you guys, and we'll talk soon, all right, brother?
Okay, appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you guys having me. I'll see you later, Lance. Trevor, good seeing you, brother.
You too, bro.
You guys be good, man. Thank you so much. That's our guy, Mike Williams from All Chiefed Up Podcast. I don't even need to tell you to follow them. I know that half of our viewing audience on a weekly basis is from their show, so we owe them a massive debt of gratitude. Mike and Steve are awesome dudes, awesome creative content creators. They think for themselves. They don't just follow suit with other people and what they think when it comes to things of the Chiefs world. They give you guys their genuine viewpoint and opinion on where things are going and how things are going. And they're very informed individuals too. They know grades, they know the stats, they do the things that I very much appreciate and consume on a daily basis myself. That's probably honestly what got us connected in the first place, is the style and the approach that they have. So if you're not following them, if you're not subscribed to their YouTube channel, change that today. Go to All Chiefed Up. Hit them up. They're going to have a show later today that they recorded in the wee hours of the morning, the throw up hour, as he said. Yeah. I can so relate to that, man.
That's a new one, though.
But I understood what he meant, because I know what that feeling is. You're like, fuck, this is so early, dude. I don't want to be up right now.
Wake up and it's still dark. You know?
Yeah, dude. It's the worst, man. I'm telling you, man. So, again, thanks to our guy, Mike Williams, and All Chiefed Up for what they do and being a part of our show today. Trevor, let's get to our Chiefs and Lions preview, and I want to get through this because I want to get to the people. I know there's been some questions being asked, and I want to get to the people as soon as possible. I promise you guys we're not trying to delay by any means. But I think that Mike made some really valid points when it came to this matchup. I think that if you're just looking at these two teams, like whenever you start doing like a matchup, you have to just kind of like take both teams and kind of just observe them for what they are. And say, okay, where is this team's strengths, weaknesses, things of that nature? And when you throw them together, what's going to happen in your eyes? It's the most simplistic way of looking at a matchup. I look at the Lions as a team that, and I said this on the 65 Toss Power Talk Show with Shaggy this week. Outside of head coach and quarterback, I don't think there's a single thing that the Lions are not better at than the Chiefs are. I think that in every other regard, the Lions are the better team. I would obviously take their head coach. I would take Andy Reid over Dan Campbell. Respect to Dan Campbell, but Andy Reid's the best coach I've ever seen. And Patrick Mahomes and Jared Goff is an awesome quarterback. I know Trevor and I don't really agree on Jared Goff. I know Trevor's not as big on Jared Goff as I am, but Jared Goff is a damn accurate quarterback. He's a very accurate quarterback. He's an old school style quarterback, very pocket friendly, doesn't run, just gets the ball out to his playmakers. But he's very good at that. He's very, very good at that, and that's a dangerous quarterback, especially with like the Mike mentioned about the play action, how that's just been eating the Chiefs alive defensively. Jared Goff is probably the best play action quarterback in the league. He is so damn good at hiding that ball and not knowing if he handed that ball off or not. And he's got a two-headed monster in the backfield in Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, who are having awesome seasons this year. Their offensive line isn't as good as it once was, but it couldn't get much better than what it once was. That was one of the greatest offensive lines I've ever seen. Yeah. Losing Ragnow in the middle of training camp and preseason was a big blow to this offensive line, and you've seen in spurts that has cost them a little bit. But this team can manufacture points unlike any other team in the NFL. They rack up points. I mean, I can't tell you, Trevor. I mean, we watch football together every Sunday. I can't tell you how many times I'd look at the screen and it'd be like 10-7 Lions. And then like the next time it comes back up, it's like 27-10 Lions. I'm like, what the fuck just happened? How did they just score 17 points within a freaking commercial break? It's just because they are such an opportunistic team, not even just offensively. Their defense is so nasty at getting the ball back to their quarterback, and their special teams is unreal. Yeah. Their kick returner is he's the best in football.
Just a well-coached team all the way around, too, man.
All the way around.
Yeah.
This is an awesome team. And coming into the season, remember telling you, Trevor, I had the Lions missing the playoffs because I saw them as a team that losing 2 awesome coordinators was going to affect them negatively. And it has not done that one iota. This team has absolutely surrounded and embraced fully Dan Campbell, even more so than ever before.
And I think he's established himself as one of the best coaches in football,
dude, without question.
Yeah, this was the year that he was going to lose both coordinators. That's usually the trend is that's an off year.
Yeah,
at least till you figure it out again. But the guys that have stepped in their places have been, it's been they're an extremely talented team, and that roster top to bottom is up there with anybody in the league. So. Got our hands full this weekend, bro.
And that's actually, if it's okay with you, Trevor, I kind of want to change the pace up a little bit because I feel like we haven't really gotten a lot from your conversation or your viewpoints of this last hour of the show.
Yeah,
I'm going to hand it to you. I want to hear, because you and I have not talked. We do this. This is our rule, bro. We don't talk about what our prediction is or anything during the week. I have no idea. We worked out 5 times together this week.
Yeah.
No idea where you stand on this game.
Yeah, and that's intentional.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah. And that's why I'm excited to find out about where you stand on this game, because I think this is, and to give you guys full disclosure, where I stand on it real quick, I had the beginning of the season, this is a game that I had the Chiefs losing. Not because I think that the Lions are just this unbeatable team, but everybody gets got. And the Chiefs, I had them losing 3 games initially from the season, 14-3. Well, there has to be a loss somewhere in that schedule. This was a game I originally had the Chiefs losing. I don't know if that was the same case for you, Trevor, but the season is going a little bit differently than we anticipated to start the season.
Yeah.
So I want to get your total viewpoint, man. Cook as long as you need to, man, about how you see this game going, where you see both these teams coming into this matchup, and just the idea of what you see playing out in your head in this matchup.
Yeah, I mean, this has been a tough matchup to really dissect and to kind of get a grip on how the game's going to go. I still kind of this game could go so many different ways. Right, this could be. I mean, obviously Vegas is anticipating this to be a massive shootout. It's the highest over/under of the week. I think for good reason. I think both of these offenses are humming, and the Chiefs have been in high-scoring games already several times this year, and as has Detroit. And Detroit's secondary is fucking decimated right now. Right, they're missing key players, which I think is a massive advantage the Chiefs could really exploit. But also, our defense has got to prove that they can stop good offenses, and they've really yet to do that. So this has all signs pointing towards a shootout. And that would make sense in these Jared Goff Mahomes matchups because they tend to be high scoring games. And the game a couple years ago when we lost, we didn't play Chris Jones. That was a very winnable game, and the Chiefs honestly should have won that game, in my opinion. So the Jared Goff being 2-0 against the Chiefs or 2-0 against Mahomes it's a stat. It exists. And I know he's looking to go 3-0. But when it comes down to it, I think this is a game the Chiefs win, man. I picked the Chiefs to lose to Philly. I felt pretty confident in that. I just didn't like the matchup. Xavier Worthy situation, all those things kind of going. It was bad vibes. I know it's bad vibes coming off that game against the Jaguars last week, but I was very impressed about how our offense was moving against one of the better defenses of the year so far. Granted, we still gave them what they wanted. We gave them a turnover and a touchdown defensive score. And we still should have won that game. We still should have won that game. And our highest penalized game of the year so far. I don't expect that to repeat. I expect Andy Reid and Spagnuolo to be on their shit this week. I know Amon-Ra is probably the scary. I know that the running back duo is what it is, and those guys are frightening. Jahmyr Gibbs is a guy that can just go out there and just absolutely slide us up. Amon-Ra is the guy I'm worried about the most, if I'm being honest. He's the guy that can move the ball on those pivotal third downs. He's a guy that they find a lot. Sam Laporta also underneath is a guy that's been playing pretty well lately as well. So we got a lot on our hands defensively, and that's where it's going to come down for me in this game, man, is how this defense responds. How Chris Jones responds after being humiliated on live TV for an entire week.
Yeah.
How do they respond to this? Drew Tranquil, is he going to continue to play the level he's been playing? Is George Karlaftis going to make a play? Is Omar Norman Lott going to play? Is Ashton Gillette going to step up and make some plays here in his rookie season and show why we took him where we took him? A lot of things that we need to figure out. Is Fulton going to be available? Is Knoll going to get some more playing time, which I hope so. I expect Steve Spagnuolo to have a hell of a game plan going into this game, and I think getting after a non-mobile quarterback in Jared Goff, I know they're going to get rid of the ball quickly, and they're incredible at the play action plays, and we struggle defensively against play action plays, especially against a team that has all the stars and talent that they have. To defend those guys is going to be a challenge. And the Tesla kid who's been coming on too is another guy to worry about. That guy scores touchdown. The guy makes plays when he's out there. So this feels like a moment where the Chiefs didn't look too great defensively last week, and then now we're playing a team that's maybe the best offensive weapons in the league, maybe the most deadly offense to face right now. Crazy enough, maybe, or not crazy enough, and they got the talent. We have our hands full, but I just feel like this is an over my dead body kind of game for Pat. I know he doesn't want to lose back-to-back home games. That's something that I don't think we've ever done in the Mahomes era, at least that I can remember. Maybe I'm wrong, but losing back-to-back homes in Arrowhead is just something that I don't think we can allow. And if we lose the game, it's not full panic for me either way. I just feel like this is a game where the Chiefs put it together. We're preparing for Rashee Rice to get back here. A lot of knucklehead things we dealt with last week that are honestly kind of outside of our character. Yeah. Hollywood Brown punching somebody, that's not something we do, and I'm sure he got his ass reamed all week this week for stuff like that. That's not something that Andy Reid allows. So I just think, man, this is, if it does come down to a shootout, my money's on us. I also think if this game's slower, my money's on us. And I know that's crazy because I think any team that in this matchup that can control the clock and run the ball well is going to be the team that has Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery on their side with the better O-line. I just think that it's going to come down to one or two plays in this game. And I trust Patrick Mahomes to make that one or two play to put this game away. It's going to be a tough one though, man. I do think this game could go two ways. It could be, who controls the clock the most. And who runs the ball most effectively. Or it can come down to just score for score, who outscores who. The defenses, neither defense can stop each other. And we've seen Jared Goff come out on that end as the victor as well when he was with LA. So, yeah, man, this is I've been pondering how I want to approach this game. I do think there's going to be points scored when I see this game playing out. I think there's going to be points scored in this game. I think both teams can get into the 30s. And I think the Chiefs have the advantage there, in my opinion. I know that might sound crazy, but I just trust Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes to figure it out. And I know, the whole man-to-man thing, Patrick Mahomes struggling against man-to-man. This could be a game where Patrick Mahomes runs a lot of yards, too. I think this could be a lot of scrambling yards for Patrick Mahomes once again, and it is what it is, man. I know we don't like it. I know we don't want him to be the leading rusher. But I think opportunistically, it's extremely effective when he does that, and he's a smart runner. He doesn't get himself, he doesn't take big hits. He knows when to get out of bounds or slide or whatever. So I trust Pat to do that when necessary. And I think there's going to be a lot of moments where they can get to him. They can pressure him outside the pocket and he can make those man-to-man coverages pay. You know what I mean? So especially if we're sending guys deep and we're moving guys downfield and we got guys blocking for him, I think Pat's going to run a lot in this game. And I think he's going to have to in order to open this offense up and get things going downfield for his guys. I think Xavier Worthy's absolutely going to eat in this game, though. I think our offense is going to move the ball pretty well. So, yeah, man, I think points are going to be scored, but I feel pretty confident in the Chiefs to rebound and take care of the things that we just did not take care of very uncharacteristically. The special teams woes, the punching guys. Yeah, man, and obviously Pat throwing a pick six is just something that's just not commonplace in this offense. A pick is one thing, but a pick six, that was just tough, man. Yeah. But I expect the defense to clean things up and to be on their shit, and I especially expect this offense to continue doing what they've been doing, and that's scoring a lot of points. So yeah, man, I feel pretty good about this matchup if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I'm gonna be totally real with you guys. I have felt much differently than Trevor has. Coming into this matchup from the beginning of the season. Like I said, this was one of those games I felt like the Chiefs were just going to get got, and it was going to be one of those like weeks where we talk about, oh man, they could have pulled that one out, man. That could have been one of those games where they messed up an opportunity to squeak one out. It's kind of like you've referenced the 2023 game against these two teams where Kadarius Toney had actual hands instead of paper plates on with gloves on. The Chiefs win that game without Chris Jones. Yeah. That's how I felt like it was going to be another one of those frustrating losses, and that stupid stat was going to continue to exist, Jared Goff. And I haven't been feeling good about this game at all. And like I said, guys, I've been sticking true to where I stand with things because to this conversation, you guys deserve the truth here. I mean, the Chiefs have struggled against good quarterbacks this season, for better or worse. I mean, yeah, Jalen Hurts didn't have great statistics, but in big moments, he made plays against that defense to get the job done. And against Justin Herbert, this defense got diced up methodically the entire game. Against Trevor Lawrence, he looked bad in the first half. The Chiefs were playing really good against him. And in that second half, it was the complete opposite. The Trevor Lawrence was doing whatever he wanted whenever he wanted to. And it was very, very frustrating to watch because I felt like there was a lack of adjustments from Spags. And there was a lack of true execution from Jalen Watson and Chris Jones and just a series of guys on the defensive side of things. And so, yeah, man, from a matchup perspective, the Lions have every reason in the world to win this game. That from an on paper perspective coming into the season, the Lions have every advantage outside, like I said, of quarterback and head coach. I just think they have the better overall roster.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, they can score in a myriad of ways. And you talk about how this game can go different ways, Trevor. I mean, look at how many different ways the Lions can win this game. They could say, you know what we're going to do? We're going to run the ball 35 times today because we can. Because we have two amazing running backs in our backfield with an awesome offensive line, and we'll just push you around all game and limit, Patrick Mahomes to 6 possessions
and
see if you can
work. You have all the weapons in the pass.
And exactly, or they can say, you know what? No, what we're gonna do is we're gonna fuck with you. We're gonna sit here and make it look like we're gonna run the ball by stacking the line and having Amon-Ra, St. Brown, and Sam Laporta just on the outsides of it, play action you, and just burn you down the field and just put up 40 points because we can.
Yeah,
that's the type of team this Lions team can be, which is why I'm picking the Chiefs in this game as well, because of the fact that that's not the Lions team the Chiefs are facing this week. They're not facing a healthy Lions team. They're facing a Lions team that, if you want to go ahead and put up the injury report for everybody to see, it is the tale of two teams, literally, on this one. One team is getting everybody back. That's the Chiefs. Everybody was a full participant this week. Xavier Worthy was a full participant on Friday. Wasn't a go on Thursday, but was a go on Friday. It looks like Christian Fulton might give it a go. Mike Dan is obviously back. Everybody outside of Rashee Rice is expected to play in this game for the Chiefs this week. If you look on the other side of things for the Detroit Lions, it is quite literally the opposite. Even guys like Taylor Decker, their left tackle, had not practiced all week and is now questionable for this game. I'm betting he tries to give it a go, but he hasn't practiced all week. That's not a good look. Their best defensive back, and Terrion Arnold, did not practice, will not be playing in this game. A series, I think it's, 4 or 5 of their 6 defensive backs that are starters for this team are not playing in this game. This team is banged up beyond belief in defense. And if we believe in this Chiefs offense to be anything close to what they've become over this last month, then we have to believe they're going to be able to capitalize on a banged up bad defense like this that the Lions are. I understand that Kelvin Shepard, their new defensive coordinator that took over Aaron Glenn, is more of a man style of defense. But ironically, and pun intended, when you don't have the man to play the man defense, it's not going to really matter when you're playing Patrick Mahomes and a list of weapons that he has, especially now that Brashard Smith is becoming more of an actual entity for this offense, becoming a legitimate threat out of the backfield, more so in the pass game. But I can live with that because I love when the Chiefs utilize the pass game out of the run game, because this offense opens up even more so for the downfield throws they want to give to Tyquan Thornton and Xavier Worthy. Also, Travis Kelce's been playing really good football, and no one's talking about that. Yeah. Everybody loves to criticize him, and I did criticize him when he was dropping passes over the first 2 weeks. But since then, Travis Kelce's been incredible. For his own standard at 36 years old, he's been a very good football player for the Chiefs over these last 3 games. I'm going to give him credit, and I believe that continues as well.
Yeah, and I just want to correct myself, too, obviously, on when I said the Chiefs don't lose 2 home games in a row. I meant just 2 games in a row back-to-back in general. That's just something we don't do very often. I know we started the season off 0-2. And I don't think we have 2 times where we lose back-to-back games. I just think there's a lot of pride on this team. I expect defensively Spagnuolo to figure some things out. And for me, man, too, like, I just think with Detroit, the way they've been rolling, they're coming off 2 games where they face Cleveland and Cincinnati.
Right.
And they're rolling against those 2 teams.
Right. That's what I'm going to talk about with the Lions offense, because they have my respect. Yeah. This is a very good offense.
We've got a large sample size of several seasons in a row where they've been elite offensively.
The Lions have played 3 road games so far this season. They're 2-1 in those games and have scored 88 points in those games. That's 29 points per game. However, the Lions scored 75 of those 88 points against the 32nd and 30th ranked defenses in the Ravens and Bengals. Yeah. The one good defense they have faced on the road, it was the Packers, who are currently 4th in scoring defense. They put up 13 points.
Yeah. Outdoors and a raucous environment. Right. Where is that? Does that sound familiar?
Right. Now, the Chiefs currently have the 15th ranked scoring defense. The Lions are averaging 35 points per game this season. Since 2023, the Chiefs have faced 5 teams that averaged 30-plus points per game at the time they faced. The Chiefs are 5-0 in those games and have beaten those opponents by 9.5 points per game.
Yeah.
In other words, this is that get up and get it type of game for the Chiefs. Now, I understand, so should the Eagles have the game should have been. So should the Chargers game. There's context to all these games. Missed opportunities, injuries, and stupid penalties.
Yeah.
If we believe the Chiefs are at their healthiest, which they're at their healthiest right now. If we believe that they're going to learn from their mistakes, and if we believe that the execution is going to finally be there, this is the game that finally starts to happen. Because if you look down the pike, you're not only getting Rashee Rice back, that's great, but the next game is against a divisional foe for the first time since week 1. Okay? It's a big game whether the Raiders are good or not. It's a divisional game. The Chiefs need as many divisional wins as they can get. Not to mention the fact that the 5 of their 6 divisional games are down this pike. You also got the Commanders. You also have the Bills. You have the Cowboys. You have the Texans. You have other decent to really good teams down this stretch. So if you're going to get over this shit, you might want to do it now when you have a formidable foe who's banged up coming into your house, coming off a big victory like they had just a week ago. You have to capitalize in moments like this. That is why the Chiefs are the favorites in this game. Because Vegas themselves know the Lions, although very, very talented and very well coached, don't have the majority of their best players at their disposal or at their expenditure this week. Yeah. If they were fully healthy, if like Terry and Arnold and Taylor Decker and these guys were all healthy, I think the Lions are favorites in this game. But they see the Chiefs are healthier, and even to your point earlier, Trevor, about how the Chiefs lose this game against the Jaguars, but were clearly the better team. Mm-hmm. They were clearly the better team. But it was execution and stupid penalties that cost the Chiefs a game they clearly should have won.
Are very out of character for us.
Right. So if they just simply don't do that shit, guess what happens this week? Yeah. The Chiefs win a game against a really good team. That's how it works in the NFL. And that's how I believe it's going to happen in this game in particular, because I think the Chiefs, although, yes, have had their struggles, more times than not are the team that come out on top because they're the ones that have the quarterback, the head coach, the better defensive coordinator, all the advantages you're looking to have on a week-to-week basis. I'm also expecting Chris Jones to have a much better game than what he had in the previous games up to this point. I'm saying that in faith, but I'm also saying that because I know what this man is capable of. So I think that this Chiefs team, yes, I'm with you. They're going to have to score a lot of points in this game, but that's because I also believe the Chiefs are going to score a lot of points in this game. I really believe that. I think they're going to hit the over. I know there's, you say 51.5 or 52, whatever it is.
Right around there, yeah.
Yeah, I think the over is going to get hit. I think it's safe to say. I think this game is going to be in the 60s total. I really believe that.
Yep.
So, yes, expect a high-flying, exciting game because Jared Goff's not going to be able to just keep running the ball and running the ball and running the ball because to the Chiefs' defensive credit, their strength is being able to stifle and slow down the run game, even with two awesome running backs.
Travis Etienne's been going off all year. He didn't really do much against us at all.
No, exactly. So and he did in spurts, but not enough to really impact the game.
Yeah.
So that's the point I'm trying to make in this one, guys. Go ahead.
No, I'm saying, and narrative-wise too. You don't think Patrick Mahomes cares about these narratives? I mean, he cared about it when Burrow was, had that winning record against him. You don't think he knows that Jared Goff's 2-0 against him in his career?
Yeah.
You don't think he has that photographic memory of the matchups that they've had together in the bouts that they've had already as just competitors?
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes doesn't want to go 0-3 to Jared Goff. No. This is why I expect a massive game for Patrick Mahomes this game.
Yes,
so I fully expect our offense to be humming, bro.
Yes, and like I said, no better time to get it right than right now before you're about to get your best offensive weapon back, before you're about to have a list of games against your division, before you're about to have the Bills game, the Commanders game, Cowboys game, Texans game, things like that. Games that are going to really start to really matter. The games you're going to have to start winning. This is the time for the Chiefs to do that. And like I said, if the Lions were healthier, I would probably pick the Lions because this is a game that I initially predicted the Chiefs to lose. But this is not the same Lions team that the Chiefs are facing that the Packers faced or any of these other teams faced before this week. They got banged up at the perfect time for the Chiefs. The Chiefs have to capitalize. Trevor, who are your two key players in this game?
The first thing that came on my mind when I was thinking about this game was Trent McDuffie and Amon-Ra St. Brown. Amon-Ra is just a guy. It's just he just creating space and finding ways to convert third downs, being that go-to guy when he needs it in the red zone, especially too. The guy's been scoring a ton of touchdowns in the red zone when things get tight. So Trent McDuffie keeping his hips on a swivel with that guy, staying with that guy. I think that's going to be a guy that they're really going to have Trent locked on in this game, especially, because Amon-Ra likes to eat. He typically eats a lot through the slot and underneath stuff. After the catch, is really good at creating separation to get away from guys. Trent's going to have to be on his shit in this game. He's had moments of greatness already this year. He's had moments where he's gotten his ass just burnt. And this is about as good a matchup as you can get with his hands being full here. So defensively, Trent McDuffie has got to be my guy. I want to see him step up and have an elite performance because we know he's capable of that. We've seen him do it against the likes of Jamar Chase's several times in his career. And we tend to find ways to slow those guys down that dominate in the slot. We've seen Malik Neighbors basically have a goose egg game, because of this guy, Trent McDuffie. So I'm hoping for another situation like that where they can take away that number one option in the passing game. That tends to lean towards Laporta having a good game, and that obviously frightens me as well. And they also got, J-Mo over there that can beat you over the top at any moment. That guy's a problem too, but he hasn't really done much this season. But we tend to let up those big plays. So my defensive guy is Trent McDuffie in this game. We need him to be on Amon-Ra's ass and just try to neutralize that as much as possible because that'll slow that offense down probably more than anything, in my opinion. So defensively, yes, that's that. This has got to be an Xavier Worthy game. This has got to be. Xavier was okay against the Jags. He had a couple decent plays dealing with that ankle. This has got to be the game where we take advantage of that secondary. Just get the ball in his hands and let him just destroy these guys with that speed. This has got to happen. We need an absolute. We need a blow up game. We need a career game here. I want a career game from Xavier Worthy. I want 2-3 touchdowns. I want 100 yards receiving. I want 50 yards rushing. I want all. I want the whole thing, man. I want to see what he's capable of. I want to see why we drafted him. The games like this, bouncing back at home against an absolutely unacceptable loss against another AFC opponent that we should have won. This is the game where Xavier Worthy's got to really, really, especially if he goes off and then now the league knows we're getting Rasheed back on top of that. That's what I want. I want to strike fear in the rest of the league because we know this offense has already been playing better than it has the last couple of years already this season. If you have Xavier go off this week, obviously for selfish purposes, I just want to see the dude go off and go nuclear against the secondary that's completely banged up and decimated. It makes all the sense. It sets up perfectly for him to do so. And then you got Rasheed coming back the following week. It's just this is the moment for Xavier to absolutely go nuclear and have a career game. So I'm going to Xavier Worthy.
My two players, because we always make the rule here that it doesn't have to be one offense, one defense. It can be on both sides of the ball. This one's simple for me. It's both tackles for the Chiefs because they're going against maybe outside of Myles Garrett, the best pass rusher in the NFL, and A'Den Hutchinson. Yeah. And for me, this matchup is very simple. If the Chiefs keep him at bay, the Chiefs win this game. A'Den Hutchinson is the most valuable player on that football field for the Lions this week. If he wrecks this shit where he gets 2 sacks or 5 quarterback hits, 8 pressures, the Lions are going to win this game. They cannot let A'Den Hutchinson disrupt the fluidity of this offense. That cannot happen because we've seen how this goes. When the Chiefs, their fluidity is knocked out of sorts and the other defense is giving their offense second life and shortening possessions for the Chiefs and giving Jared Goff the ball with more possessions, that is a recipe for disaster. So Juwan Taylor and Josh Simmons they've got to bring their A game in this one because A'Den Hutchinson, I can guarantee you one thing. I can't guarantee you that Jared Goff's going to have an A game. I can't guarantee you that even Amon-Ra St. Brown and Montgomery and Jameer Gibbs is going to have an A game. I guarantee you that A'Den Hutchinson is bringing his A game. That is one guy that every single week I pencil in as I know what he's bringing. He doesn't have bad games. He just does not. When he's healthy, the dude is always a problem. So if the Chiefs can slow him down at all and let Patrick Mahomes feel comfortable in that pocket, the Chiefs are going to win this game. So my 2 key factors are the tackles. They have got to play the best football. I'm not saying you shut him down where he doesn't do anything. I'm saying if he does, when he gets a hold of Patrick Mahomes, the ball needs to be out of his hands. You got to give him time to read the field and get that ball delivered downfield. Because if he's getting hit with that ball in his hands, I'm telling you right now, A'Den Hutchinson's going to get that ball. He's going to do a strip sack. It's going to be a dismantling type of back-breaking type of momentum shift that he can bring to this Lions team. That cannot be allowed in this matchup. So that is why I keep it simplistic because I'm with you. I think if Patrick Mahomes has time in the pocket, Xavier Worthy's going to have 140 yards and a couple tutties in this game. I genuinely believe that. I think he's going to be a monster. I'm saying 140 total yards. He gets some rushing yards, big-time catch here and there. there, couple tutties, makes a difference in this game, an absolute difference in this game, because that secondary is so banged up right now for the Lions.
Well,
I just think
Xavier has to.
Yeah.
I think if Xavier has a quiet game, we lose.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I agree. I
just
agree.
don't, he has to have a big game.
You and I created you and I just created a meal, but we brought two different recipes to it. You know what I mean? Like you're looking at like Xavier Worthy has to get the ball, and I'm saying, well, in order for him to get that ball, it's gonna have to start with these guys in order for Patrick to get him that ball. We just need the
dynamic guys to be dynamic. Yeah. You know, just straight up. And I think Brashard Smith gets just a bonus point here. I think Brashard Smith gets more work in this game. I think he catches a couple passes and makes some plays in the passing game, because we've seen it, man. The first drive of last week, they almost got him a score in the first drive.
Yeah.
Brashard Smith almost scored. He was in there for the red zone package on the first drive of that game against Jacksonville. I think Brashard Smith's going to get more work. Pacheco played well last couple weeks. Obviously, Kareem had the longest rush of the game last week, which was wild. So just getting everybody involved, but I think feeding Xavier Worthy in this game just makes so much sense to me, man.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be one of those slobber knocker type games. Gonna look like a scene out of Rocky. I don't want to overhype it too much, because usually more times than not games don't go that way. I do think this is one of those exceptions. It's a standalone game. Both teams need to win this game because we know that the NFC North is. Excuse me, guys. I got allergies over here, apparently. The NFC North is not the Lions to win right now, as far as, we know that there's no assumption here with the Packers being awesome, with the Vikings still being a really good team, and the Bears, on the rise. They need to get as many wins as they possibly can, and we obviously know the Chiefs situation. So this is going to be a game of desperation for both teams, and I think they unleash the beast both sides. Yeah. Something ironically similar to that Monday night game, Rams Chiefs in 2018, where they neither defense could stop either attack. Do you have a score for this game, Trevor?
So I'm gonna say 36-33 Chiefs. Okay. I think this is gonna be, like you said, slobber knocker, score, knock them out, drag them out type fight. Yeah, man. I think Pat throws 4 touchdowns here.
Yeah.
I don't think we run the ball very effectively, because we very rarely ever do or commit to it. So I think Pat's going to throw 40+ times. This could be an overtime type game too. It's just one of those settings where I think it's just going to be just tutty for tutty. Not a lot of field goals. I think both teams are very aggressive. Obviously, we know that Detroit's going to be aggressive on 4th down. That's just their style. That's how they do things over there. But I think we are as well. I think we match that energy. And I think this is, one of those home games where Pat's is going to be having over my dead body approach, and I think he's going to run. I think he's going to do everything he can to keep the chains moving and to do whatever we can to score. I think when things get in the red zone, I think it's get 4 down territory every time. I don't think we settle for field goals. Yeah, I think 36-33.
Yeah, I like that. I'm right around the same area as you. I think that the Lions are going to be. They're going to go for every 4th down imaginable. They're not going to like I said, they're not going to give Patrick Mahomes extra possessions. They're not going to be punting the ball. In fact, I'd be shocked if there's more than 2 punts in this game for both sides. I think that Andy Reid's going to be like, hell with that. It's 4th and 2. Go for it. Go get that shit. I think you're going to see the Andy Reid we all love to see, which is the one that goes for shit, the one that steps on throats. And I'm going to be right next to you. I think right now where I sit, I think it's going to be something where it's 35-30. The Chiefs are going to be settling for field goals. Like I said, I think they're going to go for it on 4th down a lot, primarily because of Butker having his issues right now, and I just don't think that they want to rely on him to have to settle for 3 right now when they know what they're going up against. So I think they're going to go for touchdowns. I think the red zone offense is going to be a lot better this week, and I might throw you a wrench here. I think this is the week that Brashard Smith scores a touchdown. I think this is a week where he gets that little dump off, kind of like how Pacheco got that one against the Ravens.
Yeah.
I think that same type of play happens for Brashard.
They tried it at the first drive, like I said, against Jacksonville. They tried that play.
Because I think the Lions know that they're going to have to put so much resources to stopping Xavier Worthy that you're going to see.
Kelsey.
Yeah, you're going to see these plays where guys like Brashard Smith and Juju Smith-Schuster and Hollywood Brown are going to be open. Like, they're going to be open. Yeah, obviously. I mean, every week Taekwondo makes a play now, so it wouldn't shock me at all. But I think like guys like Juju, Hollywood Brown, and Brashard Smith, those underneath guys are going to be the guys that get some play this week. So if you're looking at for like betting or anything like that, I would hammer Brashard Smith if he's even available on there now. Yeah. Juju Smith-Schuster, Hollywood Brown, guys like that. The others, because I think that Xavier's going to put up numbers, but I think the Lions are going to be so fixated on 87-1 that you're going to see these other guys not only against one-on-ones, but against the bad one-on-ones. And you're going to see these dudes opened up a lot. Patrick's going to be able to dump the ball off a lot, too. And these guys are going to create with their feet. I think this is a week where Brashard Smith gets a touchdown for the first time in his career. And the Chiefs are going to be, like I said, very effective in the red zone this week. Because I'm with you. I don't know how good the run game's going to be. But I don't know if that's really going to matter this week. I think that Patrick's going to throw the ball 43, 44 times, and he's going to have a lot of yards and a lot of touchdowns, and the Chiefs are going to squeak out a victory that it's going to be a fun game. It's going to be stressful, too, because I think we're going to have to sit here and accept the fact that the Chiefs' defense isn't going to probably look its best this week. It's going to be, like I said, the Lions may be banged up defensively, but they're overall pretty damn healthy offensively from a skill position perspective. I expect their guys to come out and play their game too, but I think the Chiefs will get the best of it. And I think situational football, I will give Patrick Mahomes the advantage over Jared Goff every single time. I will give Andy Reid the advantage over Dan Campbell every single time. And until I'm proven otherwise, I think the Chiefs get back to 500 and get Rashee Rice back and start moving forward with the rest of the season. I think right now probably 35-30 is my score. So let us know what your guys' score is, because it is time now to get to you guys. Trevor, what are the people saying and speak it, man?
All right, so we got a few in here. We got our guy Dustin Orton, as usual, from the top rope. Think we will see some of our rookies on defense get more playing time in this game.
I mean, you have to hope, because right now, ironically, one of the better moves that the Chiefs have been making has been playing their rookies, because they've been the ones that are showing the promise.
Yeah.
I mean, Charles Minhu has not done anything this season. Ashton Gillotte, when he's been given opportunity, he's been getting around the quarterback. He hasn't been getting a lot of sacks, but you're seeing a progressiveness in his game. You're seeing the aggression start to take shape into a guy that can get to the quarterback and make plays, at least make pressures, and that's all you can ask from a third-round rookie at this point of his career. Noah Williams has been a dog. Chamari Connor's been bad. Whether it's his fault or not, he's just not been doing what we expect him to, and Christian Fulton to this point has just been a non-starter, literally. So yeah, Noah Williams needs to get more playing time. Rashard Smith's going to obviously get an uptick.
On a bright note, Brian Cook's been fucking great this year.
Brian Cook's been amazing. He looks like a guy that's trying to get paid.
He's been awesome this
year. He looks like a dude that's trying to get paid. So, and it makes sense. It's a contract year.
Sure.
Rashard Smith, like I said, he's going to get plenty of snaps in this game. I think he's gotten the full respect and belief of Andy Reid and the coaching staff on the offensive side of things. And we know Josh Simmons is a dog. So maybe Bossa has to step in here and there, but he's been mostly a special teams guy. But yeah, outside of that, I think that you have to get those guys more playing time, because they deserve it by the way they've been playing.
Yeah, you got to go for the upside sometimes.
Yeah.
Dustin Orton once again, speak it. The Eagles think the Eagles trade AJ mid-season. Some rumblings about the Bills. I have not looked at money at all.
Well, it's literally impossible for both sides if we're talking Bills and Eagles. First of all, the Bills don't have the cap structure to fit him with his current contract for this year and moving forward. Also, the fact that if the Eagles were to trade A.J. Brown right now, if I'm not mistaken, they would have to pay $76 million in dead cap.
And they just paid Khalil Shakir a lot of money, too.
Right. So that trade, I can guarantee you he's not going to go to the Bills, but I can almost guarantee you as well that he's not getting traded at all. I think there's a chance you hear about a trade request, but I think they're going to have to wait till after this season, because, like I said, the money just does not make sense for the Eagles, and they're still trying to win. So trading away A.J. Brown is you basically conceding the season. Yeah. Because whether you're using him or not, he is by far your best receiver.
Only way I see it possibly happening is if he tries to demand a trade.
That's what, yeah.
And they might honor that. But
the problem is that, like I said, with all that dead money, dude, I just don't think the Eagles are that type of team that would make that type of move.
Yeah.
Because like I said, they got so much dead money tied up in him, and I think they're going to wait until after the season, because I think there's a potential out in his contract after the season, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe John Harrison could look that up for us. But, yeah, I don't see any real scenario that he's gone during the season.
Yeah, me neither.
I do think there's a real chance he's traded after, though.
Julia Gulia, trade before the deadline or roll with what we got?
No, I definitely think the Chiefs need to be in the trade before the deadline scenario. And you guys know where I stand. I think that the running back position is definitely in need of that. I understand that Rashard Smith is looking good. But, guys, last week was his best game of his career. He had one rush attempt. One. He's not going to be a dude that's getting the ball through the A gap and B gaps 15 to 20 times a game. That's not his skill set. Rashard Smith is a converted wide receiver, which means his skill set and where he's going to be the biggest threat for this offense is catching the ball out of the backfield, which is great. We love guys like that. They fit the Andy Reid offense perfectly. But he's not going to be a bell cow. He's a 7th-round rookie, so anything we're getting from him already is a massive, massive bonus. So we'll take it. Furthermore, Isaiah Pacheco at some point this season is probably going to get injured. I hate to say that. I don't want to believe it. But based on his past and what we know of Pacheco and the way he plays football, he's going to probably get nicked up, banged up, and may miss some time. Kareem Hunt's also a 30-year-old running back. who has played a very rough style of football too. Now, he's more versatile than Pacheco, but there's that chance also, which leaves the Chiefs to having to go and get a guy to fill this room with more reliability, more versatility, and I think that guy is Alvin Kamara. So, yes, I'm going to stand by that, and I believe the Chiefs need to make that trade. And again, I said earlier in the show, if they can go and get a defensive lineman that can adequately upgrade the presence that they have in their pass rush, go and make that trade. I just don't know what guy that is. Everybody wants Jeffrey Simmons. He cannot be traded right now. The Titans have way too much money vested in him for this season. He's not getting traded, and quite frankly, that's not a trade the Chiefs make, because that's way too big of a name and way too big of a contract for them to make that type of move during a season. I just don't think that Brett Veach is making that type of move. I think the most realistic scenario is them getting Alvin Kamara out of New Orleans.
Todd Tolfree, Spags did recognize the Jags start playing a rookie center and didn't send pressures at him. Yeah, I mean, for me, like, I just think the game plan overall defensively was just kind of all over the place against the Jags game. Maybe because it rhymes with Spags and maybe he was jinxing himself a little bit. I don't know what's going on in that. But
Jagnolo?
Yeah. So it was just a weird. We just weren't able to get pressures, and that's kind of been a thing all season, to be honest. So like, rookie center or not, it doesn't matter who's been out there, who we faced. Granted, we have faced some good O-line so far this year, but still, I mean, getting our guys healthy, getting Omar Norman-Lott to help out there, getting Ashton Gelati maybe some more work on the edge there, maybe because he's a guy I think that can get home maybe even more than George, which is crazy to say. George is great at getting pressure, but finishing plays has just been a non-existent factor in our game, man, and it's really frustrating. But yeah, I mean, the fact that the Jags had a rookie center out there and we didn't really exploit that or try to exploit it, in my opinion. Chris Jones was getting double teamed and finding ways to get there, get creative to exploit that mismatch. Yeah, it's a problem, man. And I think we have a bigger, better O-line that we're facing this week, even more so. So now we got to really figure some things out.
Right.
But yeah, that was something we should have exploited, and we didn't do a good job of doing that. So Spags will be better this week. I fully expect that. Cell 32 Alt, speak it. Why does there seem to be no in-game adjustments? For example, Trevor Lawrence escaping as much as he did wasn't expected, but wasn't addressed when it happened.
Yeah, Look, man, I think that you can sit there and say it's a freak play and all this other stuff, but that wasn't the first time that Trevor Lawrence ran on the Chiefs' defense.
Yeah, I think that's his point. I think he's saying he was kind of doing it throughout the entire game. And Trevor Lawrence has that in his game, but he doesn't necessarily
really utilize
it all the time. Yeah. This year he has been doing a little bit more. I think he's averaging like 4 or 5 rush attempts a game now, which is
I don't know what it is about the Chiefs and blondes, but they love to let Justin Herbert and Trevor Lawrence just run all over him. I don't know what it is, man.
Yeah.
It is a very frustrating thing. I mentioned it during the game last week where I'm like, how do I, somebody who just watches football, definitely am not paid to coach it, how can I recognize that there's a real problem with them not having a spy on these quarterbacks right now or doing anything to adjust towards, keeping them in the pocket and having them make decisions in the pocket, caging them up? And Spags doesn't. How does Spags not see this? Like, it's a very frustrating thing. And then it makes you ask the question, well, he does see it, but there's just nothing they can do. And that's the part that should worry you. Is if that is where Spags is at, where he doesn't feel like there's anything they can actually do about it, that is something that you're going to have to start paying attention to with this defense and them contributing to the Chiefs making another Super Bowl run. Yeah. Because if they can't stop it, if they don't have the personnel to make that stop, then you better hope that the Chiefs offense can score 35 a game, because that's the only real hope they would have in winning the Super Bowl, because then the opposing offensive coordinators are going to look at that every week and go, okay, well, it's 3rd and 6. What we'll do is we'll just have 4 wide receivers on the field, have them run go routes, and then when there's nothing to throw to, we'll just have our quarterback run, because it's that easy to do so against this defense. I hope that's not the case. I hope that Spags can make those adjustments, and I hope that these guys can step up and start to alleviate that type of situation, because there's nothing more heartbreaking and backbreaking to see them for 2 downs shut that offense down, and then on that 3rd down it doesn't even matter because they gave it up. It's such a frustrating thing to see. So I hope it happens, man. I hope that Spags can adjust to it, but I'm going to be real with you. I don't know. I don't know what's to come of that. I do have my faith in that Spags will, as he always does, adjust to things and improve from those things. But you're not seeing it so far a month and a week in.
Yeah. Our guy John Harrison did chime in about the A.J. Brown. He said A.J. Brown's contract is through 2029, escalating the cap figures every year. Bonuses kicked down the road through 2033, making 53.5 million void figure due in 2030 complicated. And also, Micah Hayes chimes in and says trading AJ Brown would create a dead cap hit of 32 million for the Eagles. Not happening.
Yeah, this year. That's I think in total it's like 76 or 77 if I'm not mistaken.
So it would take like a catastrophe, like fallout between the relationship for them to be like, you know what, it's better to eat this money.
It'd be like Russell Wilson with Denver.
Yeah,
something that catastrophic. It'll never be like that with them. I do expect AJ will probably try to, in a passive aggressive way, like he likes to do things, ask for a trade. It's just not. It's not feasible for the Eagles.
They do not have to grant you that. So,
no.
Yeah, we saw Jacoby Myers try to do it before the season.
Right.
They said, "Fuck you." Cell 32 Alt chimes in and says, "Speak it, y'all, the two best Chiefs channels, along with RGR and KCSN. Much appreciation. Thank you for that love.
Appreciate the big time, man.
Yeah, man. Shout out to those boys over there." James T. Kirk chimes in and says, "Harrison Butker is struggling. I know he's not getting cut. I wouldn't want to cut him, but I would definitely bring in another kicker to practice squad to shake up Harrison a bit. Thoughts?"
I understand that point of view, and I think that works for other positions, but you have to understand that Harrison Butker is the highest paid kicker in the league. I don't think he feels threatened at all. If you were to bring an inexperienced young kicker in here, he's not going to look at that as real competition because Harrison Butker, to his credit, has been a guy that's helped this team win Super Bowls. So he's not really looking at that guy, and I don't think he means it disrespectfully, but naturally he doesn't look at that dude as an actual competition. Because Harrison Butker, when healthy and when right, is probably outside of Aubrey the best kicker in football. Yeah. So he looks at himself as his competition. And I don't want to speak for Harrison, but I would imagine being a competitor like he is and knowing what he's come from and have to, go from being the Panthers practice squad kicker to being one of the most prominent kickers in recent memory. Yeah. I would like to believe he has a lot of confidence in himself as to what he can and will do. I think that right now what's happening is there's a mental and physical adjustment inside of Harrison Butker. And we know that sometimes kickers get the yips. Sometimes they get in their own head and they can't get out of it, and they have to fight through that. So that's what we have to hope is going to happen with Butker, because if it doesn't, he's going nowhere. And if that doesn't happen, and if he doesn't get better, the Chiefs aren't going anywhere either, because they're going to need their kicker to be able to be clutch. Because we know that a lot of times football games come down to that.
There's been a couple like WTF moments so far this season. I mean, this missing extra points, in my opinion, even if there's a penalty that pushes it back a few, 10, 15 yards, still got to hit those kicks. Yeah. I'm not worried about Harrison yet, though. Like if he misses another field goal or a easy field goal or another extra point, then we can start talking. But I think he's going to go on a pretty hot streak here and become who he's always been. James C. Kirk has one more question. Off the wall question: what did LeBron James do now? Jesus, I didn't want to talk about this.
I didn't want to talk about it either, but I'm glad that it got brought up, because I guess, the people want to talk about it. I was pretty disappointed, to be honest with you guys.
I don't know if this is about the injury or about the
publicity stuff. We all know what he's talking about. He's talking about the second decision,
because he is hurt. But yeah,
the what's called the nerve in his leg,
sciatica.
Yeah. So I'm not going to talk about that, because we all know how durable LeBron's been. I'm not going to question his physical abilities.
Probably time though, man.
I mean, no. I'm not. I'm saying like people question whether he's like really hurt or not. I definitely believe he's hurt. He's definitely hurt. The second decision thing to me was just an absolute joke. I didn't like it at all.
It was embarrassing. Secondhand embarrassment for sure.
Yeah. And the biggest reason why it was upsetting for me is because I felt like that was like a card that he could play whenever he decides to hang it up.
Yep. Now he can't do that again.
Now he can't do that. Because now it just looks ridiculous. And you use one of the most pivotal moments in sports history. You use the decision.
Most polarizing moments in sports history.
Like one of the single most important polarizing moments in sports history. You use that now to market liquor.
Yeah, and you got us agreeing with Stephen A. Smith now. Fuck.
I mean, that's bad, man. Like, you guys know that Trevor and I go to the ends of the earth to defend LeBron, man. But at times, like, I can't defend stuff like that because that to me just looks like, oh, well, there he is. He's a brand, and that's what he did in this. And I there's just no defending it, man. I didn't like it at all.
It was in poor taste.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Hennessy sucks too, just to let you know.
I don't mind it.
Yeah.
I like my brown liquors.
No, I do too. But dude, that shit's harsh. That shit's harsh. Man.
I barely ever drink, but I don't mind Hennessy though.
Mix it up. You mix it with some. It's all right. Like some
With
Sprite.
with a
Hennessy and
cigar,
Sprite. Yeah.
it's not bad.
Okay. Now you're talking.
Yeah.
Hennessy, Sprite, with a stogie. Now we're talking. And you know me, dude. Like I like my whiskeys and my ryes and shit straight up. I don't like my Hennessy straight.
I mean,
up.
I prefer some Four Roses.
Look that.
Yeah, something like that. But yeah, all right. LeBron, that was a bad look, bro.
Yeah.
But that is all the questions, bro.
You guys are awesome, man. We appreciate all the questions, all the commentary during the show. You guys make it fun, dude, every single week. And if you've not already done it, go to our YouTube channel, hit up the Spoken Podcast, and let us know. Or like I said, hit the notification button, hit the like button, hit the share button, hit all the buttons. But we need you to get in the comment button. That's the one we need you guys to hit the most because we want you to be a part of the show every single week because that is what we do here is we have a conversation with y'all. With that said, Trevor, we have one more order of business to get to. What is it called?
Hold this L.
Each every episode, we finish off every single episode with a series of L's in the world of sports, whether those L's are friendly L's or not so friendly L's in the world of sports. We promise you, who's ever holding the L's in the world of sports deserve those L's in the world of sports. Trevor Twidwell, who's holding the L for you this week?
All right, man. So this is a double L for the same reason. I mean, University of North Carolina and Bill Belichick, this whole debacle that's been taking place. I mean, I at first when this move first happened, he left to go back to collegiate sports. I was like, oh, this is a cool opportunity for Bill to kind of go establish himself as a new face of college sports and maybe dominate there, and that'd be a cool thing for him because I'm sure he could definitely do that because he's a great coach. But so far, man, it's not looking like this is going to be a long-lived thing because apparently, Drake May being maybe the best player to ever come out of UNC, it's looking like he probably could be that when it comes to the NFL players that have come from there, has been balling this year.
Yeah.
And apparently there has been there was an agreement between basically UNC gave the power of Belichick to use his power to force UNC to not repost or post anything regarding Drake May because he is a New England Patriot. So anything he does success-wise or has a great week, most college teams like to bask in the glory of their alums.
Yep.
Right? And like Drake May, like I said, being maybe the best to ever come out of that program, that's a great thing for them social media-wise to be able to gloat on their guy. And according to reports, they're not allowed to because Bill Belichick is in power over there, and Bill Belichick is not allowing them to post anything that is in support of anything New England Patriots. This is next level petty, man.
Yep.
But it's an L because it makes Bill Belichick look pathetic, along with other things that are going on in his life that are fucking laughable, or embarrassing, I should say, for man card reasons. But it's also a massive L to UNC to give that man that kind of power, and allow him to be an entity, an eye in the sky of your entire program, your entire college. That's wild to me, man. And then then that's a couple days later. It's been leading up to a boiling point where Bill Belichick is now willing to trigger a $1 million buyout with UNC if he finds a soft landing spot with another team or in media, is what the report is.
Yep.
So he's even willing to fucking just leave coaching altogether and become a media, which I would love to have Bill Belichick in the media.
He's much better than what he is right now.
He's actually a funny guy, and is obviously extremely knowledgeable. So I wouldn't mind getting him out of the entire coaching sphere in general. Just have him on TV because he's actually pretty good at that.
Yeah.
Enjoyed that. He's better than a lot of other guys. But this is just embarrassing, man. Honestly, if I'm a UNC fan or if I'm a UNC alum or if I'm Drake May, and my alma mater isn't even able to gloat on me on social media because Bill Belichick's old wrinkly ass is over here, having a hissy fit about it. That's embarrassing. That's embarrassing. One, that they gave him that power to have that kind of say so over what they can and can't post in a free market of social media. That's wild. And then two, he's already looking to possibly have a buyout situation because he's getting triggered by shit. Yep. It's embarrassing. Maybe I'm sure those are all his decisions because he's been making all his own decisions. Clearly, no one else is influencing those things for him. But yeah. So for that, man, UNC, do me a favor, and Bill Belichick, do me a solid as well, and hold this L.
So I'm going to go ahead and give an L to the same exact person.
Nice.
And it's very similar reasons, and we can put the tweet up if you want, Trevor. This is from the guy that broke this story. His name is Ollie Connolly. Per sources, Bill Belichick has discussed buyout options with North Carolina's hierarchy. Belichick has signaled a willingness to trigger his own $1 million buyout if he can find a soft landing with other team or in media. So that's a part of it, yes. The part I want to focus on is the legacy aspect of all this.
Yeah.
Because Bill Belichick, for my entire adult life and most of my teenage life as well, was highly regarded as the greatest coach to ever coach football. And I'm here to tell you guys that is now no longer the truth, and in my opinion hasn't been the truth in a long time, because now with this is just it's a microcosm of everything that's already been happening with Bill Belichick's legacy. What do I mean by that? We've seen Bill Belichick be a coach before and after the Tom Brady era. And to me, what's happened before and after Tom Brady speaks louder about Bill Belichick than the Tom Brady era and what they did. And why I say that is not only is it because I think that losing sometimes can be more of an attention grab than when winning at a high level, in my opinion. I think people focus more on losing than winning. But it's also the fact that we know that when Belichick was winning, he not only had an all-time great quarterback, but they had a series of cheating scandals that they have lost draft picks for, players have been suspended for. All these other things have happened throughout that time. So the legacy of his success is tarnished just by natural stances of just, what is integrity and what is these other things. So the losing has to take an even bigger portion of the focus, because that's the time that it'd be hilarious if he got caught cheating and was still losing. But when he wasn't cheating, he was losing and continues to lose. And then everybody goes, well, I think at the college level, he'll be just fine. He can shape minds and, Dude, in the 3 games he's played legitimate teams this season, they've been outscored 120-33.
And he's a defensive guru.
Right.
Yeah.
So, they've just been getting smacked every time they haven't played DeVry University this season. When they're not playing, JUCO teams. Yeah, you can probably beat the shit out of a JUCO team because you have, Division I players. You're going to beat them. But when you play Clemson, you lose 38-10. When you play UCF, 34-9. When you play TCU, 48-14. This is me showing you guys and I've been saying this, remember I told you this, that Bill Belichick is the most overrated coach of all time. He can be great, but also extremely overrated, because we have the context of what he was before and after having this time period of a great all-time quarterback, because we saw Andy Reid. We've seen other great coaches throughout time not have an all-time great quarterback and still win at a high level, still go to Super Bowls.
I prefer to say he's maybe the most overachieved of all time. Overrated.
That's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. We can go with that. The point I'm trying to make is you can't spell fraud without Belichick, and you can't spell Belichick without fraud. Because I think his legacy is extremely fraudulent. The cheating scandals when he won, and being complete ass cheeks when he didn't have a great all-time great quarterback. For that, the legacy of Bill Belichick's going to do me a favor and hold this up. Appreciate you, Billy.
Yeah.
Enjoy your
It's been a
preteen
pretty
girlfriend.
tragic downfall pretty quickly, man. But I will say, I kind of hope it gets back into the media. He was actually pretty entertaining with that.
Yeah.
He's actually funnier than
When he
people
takes
realize.
that countenance off, when he
Yeah.
removes that dickhead way,
Yeah.
he's hilarious.
Yeah.
He's hilarious. I love one of my favorite videos ever is of him and Randy Moss talking in his office back when Randy was there.
Halloween
About
party.
Halloween, he goes, "Isn't it just the best?"
Yeah.
He goes, "You're dressing up, you get candy. I mean, how can you get better than that?" And he shows up as a pirate. It was awesome, dude. It was so fucking cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree. I think that Belichick I think his days of coaching are done.
Sure.
He needs to get out of it. Do what Saban did, which is ironically one of his best friends.
Yeah.
Get out of coaching when you're in your 70s.
Saban's been great at it.
Yeah, and just go and have fun. This is what I think Pete Carroll needs to do. Pete Carroll would be awesome behind a microphone. You know what I mean? Some of these old dudes have been around forever. Man, just go and
Just
enjoy
chomping
it.
gum.
Yeah, exactly, dude. Yeah. And talking about his 26 Ks he does with his wife still. Dude, go have fun. Belichick,
He's
be
getting
fun.
26 Ks. Belichick's dating 26-year-olds. You know what I'm saying? So they're both be great. Yo.
Yeah, that's a rough one to say the least, man. But yeah, get that legacy back in order, dude. Like I said, go be fun. Let this new generation see you for something else instead of a loser. And I think that your legacy is gonna get a little bit more of a glow up, if you will. But in the meantime, you're holding L's over here, buddy. So who's not holding L's is you guys, because you guys made the show fun. So we're not gonna give you guys L's today. I know, you probably deserve it. But we're not gonna do that to you guys. We again want to thank you guys. We want to thank our guy Mike Williams from All Chiefed Up. We want to thank All Chiefed Up as a whole. They've been nothing short of supportive for us here. And we really appreciate Mike taking the time to hang out with us on a Saturday. He could be doing literally anything else he wanted. He could be throwing up in the wee hours, but he decided to come and hang out with us.
Got that out of the way early.
Yeah, knocked that out. I know he was nervous for being on the show. No, I'm just kidding. But regardless, I want to thank him. I want to thank everybody that's been a part of this today. 331 episodes, man. This has been one hell of a journey, guys. We love that you guys want to be a part of it. So thank you again for being with us. Don't miss us on Tuesday night at 6 p.m. Shaggy and myself will be on the 65 Toss Power Talk Show on this very same YouTube channel. So go ahead and just subscribe here, and we'll go live at 6 p.m. on Tuesday like we do every single week. We have great guests. I'm not going to reveal who the guest is yet because we honestly don't know who it is yet. I have confidence that one of them will be showing up, but we haven't heard back yet, so we hopefully will get them. If not, just tune in and hang out with us like you do here on Saturdays with Trevor and myself. So for Trevor Twidwell, for the great Clay Windler that puts all this together on the back end of things, I'm Lance Twidwell. The Spoken Podcast episode 331 is done, finished, and finito. And until we are back here in 1 week's time, hopefully we're talking about a 500 Chiefs team getting Rashid Rice back in time for the Raiders game. We out of this bitch.